Greetings, comrades. Welcome to All Power to the People podcast on Grown Folks Talking, Express Yourself Internet Radio via the Huddle Team app. We meet every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We discuss local, national, and global events that impact the material conditions of the people and provide viable solutions. We are here to find those tired of the way their lives are socially constructed. As Panthers, we use dialectic materialism. As Dr. Huey P. Newton stated, power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. From combating the housing crisis to police patrols, we are the vanguard in place to serve our community. The purpose of this program is to highlight contradictions in the electoral process, which Western culture calls politics. Politics is the struggle for resources. Participating in America's electoral process has only taken resources from the people and handed it to the oligarchs and the professional managerial class that serve them by maintaining the status quo through coercion. We know that power lies with the people, and it is our duty to organize and educate the community so that they can fight for their own liberation. So please, join us every Sunday at 12 p.m. You can join by downloading the Huddle Team app, join online, or call in. The app and joining online is free, but if you call in, standard messaging rates may apply. Links to the show will be provided in the caption. This is General Secretary Patience of the new African Black Panther Party, NABPP North. All power to the people.
That's my camera. Let's put it on first. Is it already on? Is my camera already on? Where is it at?
A party that gardens together, stays together. This is the People's Garden. We are setting up. From help of our good friend, Sergio, part of the United Panther Movement. The United Panther Movement are those who believe in our 10-point program, which is basically providing services to the community. Free breakfast program, free food program, free health clinic, pig patrol, and we have programs for the kids, after school programs, summer camp. We do all of this because we understand the importance and the needs of the people. So we're planning the community garden. This is the garden for the people. But we need help. We need help from you guys. So join the United Panther Movement. To learn more, contact General Secretary Patience at 862-283-9917 or email patiencerow@yahoo.com. That is in PANTHEROW@yahoo.com. To help support the work we do, please send donations to Cash App, $ I live for the people, or Venmo Zelle at phone number 862-283-9917. This is General Secretary Patience of the New African Black Panther Party, NAB, PP North. All power to the people.
All power to the people. All power to the people. Happy Sunday to everybody. Happy Sunday to everybody. Welcome to All Power to the People podcast on Grown Folks Talk and Express Yourself. Can you hear me, General Secretary? You might be on mute.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. All power to the people. Every Sunday we come here and we read, we listen to the audio. We listen to the audio of books to understand how to deal with the material conditions that we deal with in our community. I say this every week. We're not here to entertain you, but you will be entertained because you learn things here. We educate ourselves. So through learning, you're educated. But we're not here to shoot shuffle or educate you or entertain you. We're not here for none of that. We're here to organize, to find people to organize with, to change the conditions in our communities. That's our sole purpose here. We've been going through the Red Book by Mal. I think we're on chapter 10 now. We go through, listen to what they say, understand what they say, and then add it to what we're doing right now in present time, in our organization to help us achieve our task. We do that every week here. The first book we did was Miseducation of a Negro. This is our second book. We are on chapter 10. I'm gonna let it play right now, and then we're gonna go into the rest of the show. But I need you to pay attention to this. Really listen. Listen to what he's saying, because this chapter is about managing organization. It's a lot that I'm not saying because I've been saying it every week now for the last 10 weeks of this book, and the other weeks for the first book that we read, Miseducation of a Negro. That I'm not saying, that I must say, so I'm going to go ahead and say it. If we want to defeat imperialism, we have to learn from those that did it. We have to learn history and understand how to defeat imperialism. China, Mao defeated imperialism. They put the organization together, they organized the people to defeat imperialism. So that's why that's why we're going through this book. And another reason why we're going through it, because when they were going to get rid of TikTok, everybody was switching over to Red Note. And Red Note was they're basically saying the Red Book. That was going to be the app that everybody was switching over until Trump came in and they did whatever they did and they didn't get rid of TikTok. But that's why we started reading the Red Book. But since reading it, I've read it before. To become a Panther, once you become a Panther, everybody gets a copy of the Red Book. But so we've read it before already. But just going through it with everybody else, listening to the audio with everybody else, I'm catching stuff that I didn't catch before when I read it several times. But anyway, let me go into the video.
Chapter 10. Leadership of Party Committees. Quote, "The party committee system is an important party institution for ensuring collective leadership and preventing any individual from monopolizing the conduct of affairs. It has recently been found that in some, of course not all, leading bodies, it is the habitual practice for one individual to monopolize the conduct of affairs and decide important problems. Solutions to important problems are decided not by party committee meetings, but by one individual, and membership in the party committee has become nominal. Differences of opinion among committee members cannot be resolved and are left unresolved for a long time. Members of the party committee maintain only formal, not real unity among themselves. This situation must be changed. From now on, a sound system of party committee meetings must be instituted in all leading bodies, from the regional bureaus of the Central Committee to the prefectural party committees, from the party committees of the fronts to the party committees of brigades and military areas, subcommissions of the Revolutionary Military Commission for leading groups, and the leading party members' groups in governing bodies, people's organizations, the news agency, and the newspaper offices. All important problems, of course not the unimportant trivial problems, or problems whose solutions have already been decided after discussion at meetings and need only be carried out, must be submitted to the committee for discussion, and the committee members present should express their views fully and reach definite decisions which should then be carried out by the members concerned. Party committee meetings must be divided into two categories: standing committee meetings and plenary sessions, and the two should not be confused. Furthermore, we must take care that neither collective leadership nor personal responsibility is overemphasized to the neglect of the other. In the Army, the person in command has the right to make emergency decisions during battle and when circumstances require. The secretary of a party committee must be good at being a squad leader. A party committee has 10 to 20 members. It is like a squad in the Army.
Now let me stop it here. Like, we belong to an organization. You cannot fight imperialism by yourself. You cannot fight what's going on, oligarchy. You cannot fight the landlords. You can't fight these corporations. None of this stuff you can do by yourself. You must be in the organization with the people. You see, that's why they always say all power to the people. Because without the power, none of those corporations, those institutions have any power. So if you want to defeat them and you don't have the money, the resources, and everything else that they got, you must organize the people. And he's going through how you do that, how you strategically do that. Most people don't understand. 99% of what we do is meetings. 99% of what we do is meetings, because everybody got to know what they're talking about, know what we on, know how we coming. We all got to understand the same thing, and that's what he's explaining. I mean, everybody should know, even the squad leaders. The squad leaders are supposed to get everybody in their squad to understand what's going on, and they have to listen to everybody in that squad, and then they have to bring it to the larger body. That's what they're explaining here about dividing the responsibilities, the different people, and how those responsibilities are managed and how you manage them. If we talk about we live in a democracy, that's not how things are done here. The politicians don't care about what we think. They're not trying to listen to us. Even the meetings that we go to, that they do invite us to, they just invite us to meetings to spin us. What we care about, the concerns we have, are never really truly heard, because this is not a democratic process. This is not a free process. We are in an oligarchy where the rich dictate everything we do. So this process, this communist process that he's talking about with these meetings, having these people in position that are responsible, that are going to listen to the people that are under them and get information from the people that's under them to bring up to the other larger body, that's not what is done in democracy in America, what we're going through. Nobody listens to the people. They, by and large, put in place what they want the people to do. They write up the laws that the corporations, that the oligarchs have paid them to write up, and they just force it down our throats whether we accept it or not. And if you don't, they bring the boys in blue with their guns to come and make sure you do it or lock you up.
And the secretary is like the squad leader. It is indeed not easy to lead this squad well. Each regional bureau or sub-regional bureau of the Central Committee now leads a vast area and shoulders very heavy responsibilities. To lead means not only to decide general and specific policies, but also to devise correct methods of work. Even with correct general and specific policies, troubles may still arise if methods of work are neglected. To fulfill its task of exercising leadership, a party committee must rely on its squad members and enable them to play their parts to the full. To be a good squad leader, the secretary should study hard and investigate thoroughly. A secretary or deputy secretary will find it difficult to direct his squad well if he does not take care to do propaganda and organizational work among his own squad members, is not good at handling his relations with committee members, or does not study how to run meetings successfully. If the squad members do not march in step, they can never expect to lead tens of millions of people in fighting in construction. Of course, the relation between the secretary and the committee members is one in which the minority must obey the majority, so it is different from the relation between a squad leader and his men. Here we speak only by way of analogy. Place problems on the table. This should be done not only by the squad leader, but by the committee members too. Do not talk behind people's backs. Whenever problems arise, call a meeting. Place the problems on the table for discussion. Take some decisions and the problems will be solved. If problems exist and are not placed on the table, they will remain unsolved for a long time and even drag on for years. The squad leader and the committee members should show understanding in their relations with each other. Now,
even when when you go deep into the studying, when you become a Panther, you go deep into the studying of what we're doing. We got there's something called like we talk about contradictions, and nothing can penetrate the organization. Nothing can come in and break up what we're doing as an organization if we deal with the contradictions inside ourselves. If we put everything on the table. Like when we come to meetings, we at meetings, we talking, and everything is not on the table. Whatever you feel, whatever you're thinking should be on the table, and we should be able to deal with it. Everything should be open, above board. That's the only way you're going to have a successful organization. But if inside the organization, there's back talking, that like people talking about each other, then why are you even there? Why are you even here? Don't nobody want you here. Like, go ahead, carry on, go on about yourself. We cast a wide net to find people that want to do this work, that want to help liberate the people. We don't have time to fighting, to arguing about petty things. And if you have an issue, bring it to the table. We've been in organizations where we have meetings, and then people leave the meetings, and then they go make phone calls and they talk on the side. What are you making phone calls to talk on the side for? This is not capitalism. We're not at work. This is not a job where you got to be on some secret square stuff. Like, ain't none of that. We don't need none of that. And that's what he's explaining. Like, the organization is not going to survive if people behave like this, if everything is not handled above board.
Nothing is more important than mutual understanding, support, and friendship between the secretary and the committee members, between the central committee and its regional bureaus, and between the regional bureaus and the area party committees. Exchange information. This means that members of a party committee should keep each other informed and exchange views on matters that have come to their attention. This is of great importance in achieving a common language. Some fail to do so and do not visit each other all their lives, though the crowing of their cocks and the barking of their dogs are within hearing of each other. The result is that they lack a common language.
Like right there, what he's talking about, like even in leadership, the people in the organization, like you don't even talk to each other. He said they live, like they could hear their chickens, whatever, their roosters cocking, whatever, and they could hear their dogs barking, but they don't talk. And since they don't talk, they don't work together in the organization. They don't build strong bonds and relationships. Like they're speaking two different languages. That's what he's explaining right now. And that's how organizations work. When the people in the organization don't talk, don't really have like a real relationship, everything is like professional, then what's the point? Everything that we're doing as an organization, as Panthers, is like we're trying to stay principled. Because when you stay principled, there's no room for any of this. So when people come in, like we're a small organization. We started building from the bottom, from scratch. So building from scratch, you get to filter through the people that are going to belong and people that don't belong. And these are the things that we look for. When we having a meeting, whatever is on your heart, whatever you're thinking about, whatever issues you have, you're supposed to bring them up. There's not supposed to be secret conversations on the side. You're not supposed to have animosity. In fact, they're going to go on to say, I'm going to go on to explain. Even the people that you have disagreements with, those are who you're supposed to try to make a greater bond with, or understanding. Because we're both in this together. We both came in this together for a purpose, and there's a lot of risk that we're taking, a lot of time that we're spending to work together. So why keep secrets and why have all these issues instead of just coming out and putting everything on the table? Because that's how we've been socialized to be. We've been socialized to keep secrets and stuff like that, and we have to learn to break that if we're going to build an organization that's going to help us liberate ourselves.
Ask your subordinates about matters you don't understand or don't know, and do not lightly express your approval or disappointment. We should never pretend to know what we don't know. We should not feel ashamed to ask and learn from people below, and we should listen carefully to the views of the cadres at the lower levels. Be a pupil before you become a teacher. Learn from the cadres at the lower levels before you issue orders. What the cadres at the lower levels say may or may not be correct. After hearing it, we must analyze it. We must heed the correct views and act upon them. Listen also to the mistaken views from below. It is wrong not to listen to them at all. Such views, however, are not to be acted upon, but to be criticized. Learn to play the piano. In playing the piano, all 10 fingers are in motion. It won't do to move some fingers only and not others. But if all 10 fingers press down at once, there is no melody. To produce good music, the 10 fingers should move rhythmically and in coordination. A party committee should keep a firm grasp on its central task and at the same time around the central task.
I want to say something about what they said a few seconds ago, and I don't want to just let that slide. When he was talking about, let me bring it back a little bit.
Down at once, there is no melody. To produce good music, the 10 fingers views from below. It is wrong not to listen to them at all. Such views, however, are not to be acted upon, but to be criticized.
You heard that? Yo, you have to listen. You have to listen to the people that are under you. But that don't mean you have to agree with them. Sometimes you listen to them and their views must be criticized. I'm going to give you an example. We had a meeting yesterday and we were talking about Kwanzaa. What do we do? How do we deal with people that celebrate Kwanzaa that want to join our organization? We don't do Kwanzaa. As Panthers, we deal with dialectic materialism. In other words, scientific evidence is what guides the decisions that we make. Kwanzaa is performative. That's what Kwanzaa is. It's nationalistic. It's black nationalist performative propaganda. In other words, it's nothing really concrete. It really does nothing. They're just chatting. They're just talking. They're just talking about all these principles that we already know, but they're putting nothing in place to manifest those principles. So they're just chatting. So we don't even go along with that. The leader, the Panther, Afrikan, whatever his name is, that came up with those ideas, we don't even entertain them because that's not what we're about as Panthers. But somebody could come, they be like, yo, we celebrate Kwanzaa, and we believe in the principles, this, that, and third. Yo, it's cool. It's cool for you to believe that. We understand. But that's not what we do here. And those principles that they're talking about, yo, we have the 10-point program. Look at the 10-point program. It's by and large saying the same thing. But we are manifesting it. We're working on it in our communities. We're trying to bring it about. We don't just come around on December to talk about it. You know, if anybody got something to say, if you want to say something about that, yo, this is an open session. Go ahead. Who's that? You got to mute yourself. But if anybody if you have something to say, put your hand up, put it in the thing in the chat. I mean, or cut in. If you can't, cut in, wait for me to take a breath and just cut in and say what you have to say. But this is not a dictatorship where I just talk and nobody else talk. We're supposed to be having a conversation here. And I want people, even if you agree with me, you disagree, I want you to chime in.
To play the piano. And playing the piano, all 10 fingers. It won't do.
General Secretary, mute idea, General Secretary.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said mute idea.
Okay, I'm trying.
All right.
All 10 fingers pressed down at once, there is no melody. It should move rhythmically and coordination. A party committee should keep a firm grasp on its central task and at the same time around the central task. Unfold the work in other fields. At present, we have to take care of many fields. We must look after the work in all the areas, armed units, and departments, and not give all our attention to a few problems, to the exclusion of others. Wherever there is a problem, we must put our finger on it, and this is a method we must master. Some play the piano well and some badly, and there is a great difference in the melodies they produce. Members of party committees must learn to play the piano well. Grasp firmly. That is to say, the party committee must not merely grasp, but must grasp firmly its main tasks. One can get a grip on something only when it is grasped firmly, without the slightest slackening. Not to grasp firmly is not to grasp at all. Naturally, one cannot get a grip on something with an open hand. When the hand is clenched as if grasping something but is not clenched tightly, there is still no grip. Some of our comrades do grasp the main tasks, but their grasp is not firm, and so they cannot make a success of their work. It will not do to have no grasp at all. nor will it do if the grasp is not firm.
You know, even that, what he's talking about, like, like if you got a grasp, like most of us, we understand, especially if you're black, you poor, you live in our communities. Yo, we know the police don't mess with us. We know City Hall don't care about us. We know all these people don't care about us. We know the school system is the worst school system. They're not really teaching us. We all have a grasp on it, but do we have a firm grasp on it? Because if you had a firm grasp on it, and they're talking about dismantling the Department of Education, would you really care if you had a firm grasp, if you understood these institutions are not here to educate our children? That's what he's talking about, having a firm grasp. Like, you may get it. Like, we most get it. Most of us get it. We have this cognitive dissonance where we understand the police don't serve and protect. We know that. We know the schools don't educate. We understand that. But do we really have a firm grasp on the situation? Or do we just have our hand out just to grab it, and then whatever they put in our hands is going to drop down and hit us in the foot? Because we don't have a firm grasp. So we go around in circles. That's what he's talking about right here. Like, you got to have a firm grasp. I'm going to give you another example. Yeah, we live under imperialism. We say that every week when we come here. We live under an oligarchy. Everybody says that in the world. The media, the newspaper, the academics, everybody says we live in an oligarchy. But people still think this is a democracy. Most of you, I don't know about most of you here, I don't think, but most people believe they can go vote their way out of an oligarchy. You can go vote in an electoral process that is controlled by oligarchs and maintained by oligarchs to change how the society treats you. That's crazy. That's crazy. But most people think they have a firm grasp of politics and they understand what politics is. Your politics is only the struggle for resources. So participate in an electoral process that's managed by the oligarchy, the people that you're supposed to be fighting against, and you're participating in that system to use that system to liberate yourself. You're weird. You don't understand what you're doing. You don't have a firm grasp of what's going on. Or if you support politicians in an oligarchy system, and this is like a republic system, the rich control everything, and they by and large force down our throats what they want us to do, how they want us to live, how they want us to survive. That's the reality that we in. And like I said, anybody can come in and tell me, nah, that's not the reality we in. And then you explain to me what reality that we are in. But do we really have a grasp, a firm grasp? That's what they're talking about. Remember I told you, we're going to reread these things to understand how to survive, how to deal with imperialism. Now, you can't be dealing with imperialism, you halfway in, halfway out. Like, you shook. You shook. Ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. You can't be a halfway crook. You got to make up your mind. It's either you mess with their system, you go to their city halls, you go to their council meetings, you go see their mayors, or you create your own. You create your own city hall. Wow, what is it for us to create our own city hall? If the organization, we have enough people in the organization, you don't need that many. You could 50, 60, 80 people. You could have 20, 15 people in the organization. And you could set up council meetings once a month. As long as you have people that are going to be able to help the people that are coming in achieve whatever task or meet whatever task they're trying to accomplish. So people come in, where they going to come in? What people going to come in North? In North New Jersey, how long was I muted for?
Not long. I just noticed you're not moving, but...
You're not getting me here. You're not even loud enough.
They're probably like 30 seconds.
30 seconds? All right, thank you. What was I talking about? Now I done lost my train of thought. Who remember the last thing I said? Nobody? All of y'all getting demerits. Who heard up? Nobody remember what I said? So I'm gonna just go back to the red book then, man.
I remember what you said, Basil.
Hey,
You were talking about the oligarchs. You're talking about voting and you know, setting up your own council. Setting up your own council. There you go.
Thank you, Basil. Thank you. See, man. Yo, Basil, like, yo, you come and catch. Anyway, hey, yo, why can't we have those meetings? Why can't we organize and have those meetings to meet the people's needs? That's our city council meetings right there. Those are the people that you're bringing in. You have to separate from these people. That's what Malcolm told us. Our organization is built off the teachings of Malcolm X. And Malcolm told us, like, these people, the politicians, the mayors, the councilmen, all these people don't care about us. Don't care about us. So if we want to change our conditions, we must separate. He's not talking move to Mars or go anywhere else. Yo, I need you to understand this, yo. Our reality, everything we know, everything we're going through, is a social construct. It's a design by other human beings. What do I mean by that? Going to City Hall to get your issues dealt with. That's a social construct that was designed before most of us was born thinking like, this is where we go to go deal with the issues in our community. We can have our own meetings anywhere, in our homes, somewhere else, where the residents come in there and we meet their needs. So who are those residents going to run to when they need help in the future? Because City Hall, you just go with it, they don't help you. They just talk around in a circle. You can watch the meetings. People talk, complain, and these people do nothing, even though they're getting tax dollars to serve the people. Taxes without representation. See, they had a whole revolutionary war over that. Taxes without representation. We pay taxes as residents, and we don't get represented. About 29% of the homes in North New Jersey are owned by the residents. Let me say that again. 29% of the homes in North New Jersey is owned by residents in North. The rest of it is corporations, is people we don't even know, landlords, slumlords, all these people that we have no idea who they are. We don't control none of it. Is it impossible for us to come together, organize, pull our pennies from the plantation and build our own homes, our own buildings, our own apartments that we own? That's the only solution. Hoping these politicians get laws to change the power dynamic. It's goofy, weird, backwards, and shows you have no grasp of what is going on.
Head for figures. That is to say, we must attend to the quantitative aspect of a situation or problem and make a basic quantitative analysis. Every quality manifests itself in a certain quantity, and without quantity, there can be no quality. To this day, many of our comrades still do not understand that they must attend to the quantitative aspect of things, the basic statistics, the main percentages, and the quantitative limits that determine the qualities of things. They have no figures in their heads, and as a result cannot help making mistakes.
You know, when you have quantitative, what he's talking about, when you have quantitative, you have enough evidence. You have enough evidence, quantitative evidence, like the police shoot people in the back, the police always lie on their reports. You could go back over and over and over, generation after generation after generation. The people are complaining about the police. No cops don't go to jail when they shoot people 50 times in the back, 60 times. You could just go. All of that evidence helps you make a qualitative analysis, an accurate analysis. And that's what he's talking about. You have to have all this to be able to make this right here, to be able to have a clear and precise view of what's going on. But that quantitative evidence must be based on scientific evidence. It can't be based on dogma, what you believe, so you got to get the evidence to support what you're talking about. That's what they're talking about right here.
Notice to reassure the public. Notice of meetings should be given beforehand. This is like issuing a notice to reassure the public, so that everybody will know what is going to be discussed and what problems are to be solved and can make.
When we first joined the organization, we used to have meetings. We don't know what they're talking about. We don't know what the meeting is about. And it used to be so frustrating It's like we could tell those in positions of power was using those meetings to manipulate the organization, to manipulate people in the organization. What is going to be spoken about in the meetings is not already known by the people that participate in the meeting, so they can prepare for the meeting. Simple things like that. They're speaking about. They're talking, or Mao is advising about. Nothing that I've heard so far in this chapter or any of the chapters seem like this is a cult. This is somebody trying to brainwash you for you to watch it now. We're not here watching it now by telling people when they come into a meeting, hey, what we're going to talk about this week is talk about dues. Only like 40-50% of the people in our organization is paying the dues. These dues are what we're going to be using as part of the money allocated to build the institutions in our community. So when we talk about, when we're having a meeting, we're going to put in the discussion of dues. So everybody that's in the organization, when you come, you understand we're talking about dues. Did you pay your dues, Muff? Have you paid your dues? If you haven't paid your dues, when you get there, you got to explain why you haven't been paying your dues. This is all responsibility of being part of an organization. And let's say the problem is critique of something that the chairman has done. So on the, what you call it, you put it on there, critique of the chairman's speech, behavior, whatever. So everybody come there, we all know what it is. So the people that have the problem with the chairman, they could be ready to say why they have the problem. Everything above board. Everything above board. This is how we must build our organizations going forward.
Timely preparation. In some places, meetings of cadres are called without first preparing reports and draft resolutions. And only when people have arrived for the meeting are makeshifts improvised. This is just like the saying, troops and horses have arrived, but food and fodder are not ready. And that is no good. Don't call a meeting in a hurry. The preparations are not completed. Fewer and better troops and simpler administration. Talks, speeches, articles, and resolutions should all be concise and to the point. Meetings also should not go on too long. Pay attention to uniting and working with comrades who differ with you.
Hey, you heard that, General Secretary? Meetings shouldn't go on too long.
Yeah.
I ain't saying that. I'm just saying. That's what they said. I ain't say that. That's what Mao said. But we're going back to Mao.
This should be borne in mind both in the localities and in the army. It also applies.
Yeah, meetings gonna be like 5 minutes from now on.
As relations with people outside the party.
Yeah.
We come together from every corner of the country and should be good at uniting in our work, not only with comrades who hold the same views as we, but also with those who hold different views. Guard against arrogance. For anyone in a leading position, this is a matter of principle and an important condition for maintaining unity. Even those who have made no serious mistakes and have achieved very great success in their work should not be arrogant.
I try to work hard on that. As a leader myself, as a head of an organization, I try to work on not being arrogant. Everything that we do, every decision that I make sure I get the input of people that are wiser than I am. Because you could know a lot about a certain field, whatever field you like. Let's say I got a degree in sociology. I know nothing about accounting. So if I come up here and I'm trying to be the one that's making the decisions on where we're putting our money, what we're doing with it, I'm bugging. We have people that are accountants in our organization. So why am I sitting here making decisions? I mean, so it's like all of that is like you have to put your ego aside. And like I said, in the organization that we're building it from a pure place. We have none of these issues in our organizations, so we trying to keep it pure. It's harder when you have organizations for like 30, 40, 50, 60 years. You have all this stuff entrenched in it, and you can't really do nothing with it. Man, just go to another organization. I mean, but by and large, you have to keep the organization pure if you want people to believe in it. Because once they start to see the contradictions, they start to like fall to the wayside.
Draw two lines of distinction.
1 second, Terry.
Go ahead.
So that's why it's important that we have the political education classes and this podcast to teach the public what it is that means to be a Panther and why we don't waver on certain things, and how it is that we're able to work with others that don't share the same views that we share. For as Panthers, there are certain principles and ethics and stuff that we are not going to waver on. And some people see that as dogmatic, but it is.
All power to the people. That is true. That is true. They could see it as dogmatic. They could see how they want to see it. But as us, as an organization, we must hold that line. We must hold that line and make sure we keep everything that we're doing pure, even if it comes with consequences.
Between Yunan and Xian. Some do not understand that they must draw this line of distinction. For example, when they combat bureaucracy, they speak of Yunan as though nothing is right. They speak of Yunan as though nothing is right there, and fail to make a comparison and distinguish between the bureaucracy in Yunan and the bureaucracy in Xian. This is fundamentally wrong. Secondly, within the revolutionary ranks, it is necessary to make a clear distinction between right and wrong, between achievements and shortcomings, and to make clear which of the two is primary and which secondary. For instance, do the achievements amount to 30% or to 70% of the whole? It will not do either to understate or to overstate. We must have a fundamental evaluation of a person's work and establish whether his achievements amount to 30% and his mistakes to 70%, or vice versa. If his achievements amount to 70% of the whole, then his work should, in the main, be approved. It would be entirely wrong to describe work in which the achievements are primary as work in which the mistakes are primary. In our approach to problems, we must not forget to draw these two lines of distinction, between revolution and counter-revolution, and between achievements and shortcomings. We shall be able to handle things well if we bear these two distinctions in mind. Otherwise, we shall confuse the nature of the problems. To draw these distinctions well, careful study and analysis are of course necessary. Our attitude towards every person and every matter should be one of analysis and study. In the sphere of organization, ensure democracy under centralized guidance. It should be done on the following lines. 1. The leading bodies of the party must give a correct line of guidance and find solutions when problems arise, in order to establish themselves as centers of leadership. 2. The higher bodies must be familiar with the situation in the lower bodies and with the life of the masses so as to have an objective basis for correct guidance. 3. No party organization at any level should make casual decisions in solving problems. Once a decision is reached, it must be firmly carried out. 4. All decisions of any importance made by the party's higher bodies must be promptly transmitted to the lower bodies and the party rank and file. 5. The lower bodies of the party and the party rank and file must discuss the higher body's directives in detail in order to understand their meaning thoroughly and decide on the methods of carrying them out.
All power to the people. All power to the people. Anybody got any comments they want to make about that? All right, we'll move on to the topic of the day then. This is what everybody's been talking about. This is what everybody's been talking about for the last week. What is the U.S. Department of Education and what does it do? Everybody's complaining about the U.S. Department of Education being well, he did executive order. He did executive order to close the department, but I don't know if Congress is going to have a vote on it. You don't know what these people are going to do because the Democrats probably want it closed too. So you really don't know what they want. But this is the article right here. So everybody's been talking about the department. Let's find out what the department really is about, what it really does. Let's see. How do I do this right here? I'll do it later. Yeah, I'll do it later. We're going to go through and read it. What is the Department of Education? The Department of Education is a cabinet-level agency created by Jimmy Carter in 1979. See, it was created in 1979 by Jimmy Carter. This was like the second iteration, I think. It was already here in 1867. They had education, whatever, Department of Education back then. Now think back to 1867. You think that Department of Education was here to educate the people, the masses of the people? 1867. When was slavery over? 1869? Somewhere around there. But anyway, you think this department was here to really to educate the people? Then your boy Carter brought it back in 1979. I want to go here. I'm going to need you, General Secretary. But we're going to go back. I'm going to let Noam Chomsky and I'm going to let Chris Hedges tell you about President Carter. You see, and Noam Chomsky, Noam, whatever his name is, I'm not going to go back. I'm going to go back President. My President X, that's how I go back.
Well, first,
when I'm ready to go back. Right here?
No, right here, the line.
That's all I got to do? Oh, okay, when I'm ready to go back, that's all I got to do?
When you're ready to go back, you go back to the slide and you click on the article again.
So what's going on here? Why is it clicking itself? It's doing its own thing over here.
So when you come back to here, you click on it and it's going to take you back to the page.
Okay. And then press this. Yeah. All right. But anyway, like I say, anybody talking about the Department of Education, in a few, I'm going to, but she said I could do it right here, so I might as well do it. Let's go into Jimmy Carter first. Before we come back and read about the Department of Education, let's understand who Jimmy Carter is first. So this is Noam Chomsky. Noam Chomsky, in let's say in popular culture, is supposed to be a genius, this smart person. I watched Noam Chomsky in my lifetime, me studying, and I have my own opinions of Noam Chomsky. He's just like every other intellectual. I mean, they talk, they run their mouth, but really do nothing to change the conditions that people are going through. Everybody been talking before Noam, whatever his name is. And then I watched them when the last crisis came about in America. And I saw how he moved as an intellectual. I have no respect for him. But for the worker, he's supposed to be somebody that's credible, that can speak and people listen to. So I'm going to play him. Listen to him. What do you think about Carter?
As the Indonesian atrocities were increasing, they peaked in 1978. Carter's flow of weapons to Indonesia increased. When Congress imposed the human rights restrictions, then there was a human rights movement in Congress to block the flow of advanced weaponry to Indonesia. Carter arranged through Montero, president, to get Israel to send U.S. Skyhawks to Indonesia to enable Indonesia to complete what turned out to be near genocide, killing maybe a quarter of the population or something. In the Middle East, Carter just won the Nobel Prize. His great achievement was the Camp David Agreements. The Camp David Agreements are presented as a diplomatic triumph of the United States. In fact, they were diplomatic catastrophe. At Camp David, the United States and Israel accepted, finally, Egypt's 1971 offer, which they had been, USA rejected, except that now it was worse from the USA with the Palestinians. In order to get Israel to accept Egypt's 1971 offer, after the war is gone, Carter raised military and other aid to Israel to more than 50% of total aid worldwide. Israel used it once in exactly the way they said they were going to do it, as a same person knew, as an opportunity to attack their northern neighbor and to increase integration of the outside territory. For starters, we can continue.
Colony. Indonesia had no claim to it, and in fact stated that they had no claim to it. During the period of colonization, there was a good deal of politicization that different groups developed. A civil war broke out in August '75. It ended up in a victory for Kremlin, which was one of the groupings, described as popular
directly connected to it. Is that so?
rhetoric.
How many hours?
Indonesia at once started.
That lasts 50 hours,
Visit Carter.
supposedly.
We know that they had requested that Indonesia delay the invasion until after they left because it would be too embarrassing.
And I ordered you more.
Yes, they left. It took place on December 7th.
You're welcome.
Must consider internet as the main issue of the discussion.
When the Indonesian invaded, the UN reacted as it always does, calling for sanctions and condemnation and so on. Various watered-down resolutions were passed, but the U.S. was very clearly not going to allow anything to work.
So we talk about war crimes, we talk about genocide. This is Carter. This is the person that brought about the Department of Education. We talk about genocide in 2025 because they started bombing Palestine again. Even though Trump came in, Trump lied, said they were going to have a ceasefire. We all said it. People that know that have been watching politics forever knew the ceasefire wouldn't hold, that he's lying. He's lying to people. That's what Trump do. That's what all these presidents do. But they have a stake at killing. They have a stake. They have a purpose, a reason for being over there, trying to wipe those Palestinians off the planet because they want the resources there. That's why they're there. They're not there for justice, for anything like. They want to kill everybody there. And like Trump said, they want to open up a hotel. They want to remove the people that live there and open up a hotel. That's what this government is. So when you thinking like you say, Jimmy, oh my God, Jimmy Carter, Jimmy Carter started the Department of Education, and we're gonna get to what they do this, what they claim they do this on. I mean, but first, let's listen. This is Chris Hedges. Let's hear Chris Hedges tell us about him too.
With Donald Trump back in the White House, many are questioning whether the age of liberal democracy is coming to an end.
And even with this, like this is Mark Lamont Hill right here. I talked about him a couple of shows ago. These are supposed to be the intellectual black people. Listen to the questions that he's asking in this interview and how he's acting like he doesn't understand that America is corrupt, that America is an oligarchy. He acts like America is a democracy. He supports people like Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party. Like this is what the black intellectuals propagate to the people. But you're going to hear him on your own, and you're going to hear the white guy. The white guy that worked for, who he worked for? He worked for New York Times. He been all around the world. He's going to be educating the supposed to be intellectual black person, the progressive revolutionary on the state of America, on what America really is. It's really disgusting watching these people. I can't even watch their shows to be able to get informed, to bring anything to you. I try to watch all their shows. They're worse than MSNBC. These black intellectuals are worse than watching CNN, MSNBC, Fox, because they just parrot what those corporate media platforms want to talk about. All they talk about hip-hop and stupid stuff. I mean, they talk about silly stuff that nobody, they talk about.
So what does the second Trump term mean for the United States over the next 4 years? And what impact will his foreign policy have on the Middle East? This week on Up Front, I ask those questions to Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, the former war correspondent, Chris Hedges.
He's told supporters that they might not ever need Trump administration part 2. This is the president who was previously threatened to deploy the military against what he described as radical left lunatics.
Yeah, but this is the first thing that they talk about. When you put on the news, when you put on the radio, when you put anything on, the only thing they're talking about is Trump. As if there's nothing else going on in the world. As if that's what people in our communities really want to talk about is Trump. They don't talk about the housing crisis. They don't talk about how people can't afford to live here. I mean, they don't talk about none of that. They don't talk about how the corporations are stealing people's homes, wealth, refusing to pay them, how the police are brutalizing people. Like, they don't talk about none of that. The first thing they always go to is Trump. As if they haven't learned from when he was president the last time. That don't work. All you're doing is promoting him. What Trump said, all publicity is good publicity, in one of his books, and that's all they do is give him publicity. And they made him into a cult figure for people to follow him.
He told supporters that they might not ever need to vote again after his victory. And then somebody called for mainstream media outlets to be investigated for treason.
He was working at, I think, MSNBC or CNN. He was working at one of them. They're both the same thing. He was working at one of them FBI agency, fake news media outlets, and they fired him. And Trump is talking about getting rid of those agencies. You see, Trump is not talking about getting rid of the agency or the station that promote his lunacy and fascist ideals. He's not talking about Fox. He only talking about MSNBC, CNN. But this guy right here is taking up for them as if these institutions are now fraudulent, as if corporate media is not a wing of the oligarchy. So, like he's here, he's supposed to be the smart guy. I think Temple, he teaches at Temple, he's a professor at Temple. He's supposed to be a brilliant academic. But look at me, I'm in North New Jersey in my little apartment, and I know more about this country than him. That can't be possible. All that book, all that school you went to, and trying to understand this society better than you, nah, they just bought off. These people are compromised. I mean, he probably read more books than I did. But when he sits down to have a conversation with me, he's going to look like a fool because he's been compromised to say what the state would allow him to say for him to be able to get resources or get jobs or be able to work at these institutions that brainwash and destroy our community.
What do you see as some of the most significant challenges that the United States is going to face over the next 4 years?
Well, you just named them, except everything was put in place by the Democrats to begin with. The party of censorship is the Democratic Party. The party of war is the Democratic Party. The party of mass surveillance is the Democratic Party. The party that turbocharged neoliberalism, whether it was NAFTA, the destruction of the welfare system, the deregulation of the FCC.
Those are all Clinton. Everything that he just named, NAFTA, FCC, all of that was under Clinton in the 90s when they did all of that. I want you to watch Mark Lamar Hill's expression or reaction.
Tearing down the firewalls between investment and commercial banks. Glass-Steagall is the Democratic Party. All he has to do is flip a switch, and he has an authoritarian state, including, of course, all the executive orders.
All Trump needs to do is flip a switch, and he has whatever. What he just said, whatever. Well, we know what he already has. What's been going on forever in America. I mean, fascism, whatever. That's what's been going on my whole life, being on this planet before I was born. This thing has been an oligarchy. This has been imperialism. Like, nothing here is new. And he telling Mark Lamar Hill that, because like Mark Lamar Hill brought him on here, and the first thing he want to do is go after Republicans. But that's all he do. He want to go after Republicans because he's a Democrat. He support the Democratic Party because they pay him. They put money in his bank account. The school that he worked, all these institutions. He's part of the machine. Mark Lamar Hill. He's part of the machine. Like, he's going to tell you, like, yeah, I got fired because I talked about Palestine. Yeah, so what? You went too far. You went further than you thought you could go. You thought you were safe. That's why you went there. Bet you ain't going to do it again. To lose your job at wherever you work at. Bet you ain't going to go out there protesting with Trump in the White House. You ain't going to go out there protesting, standing with them people. Bet you ain't going to do it. I mean, but let me let him keep talking.
Those predate Trump.
This is interesting because there are a lot of people watching who would see.
You see how you cut it off? This is interesting. There's a lot of people watching who will see. Yeah, because y'all been lying to these people. You've been brainwashing these people.
The policies you've laid out as the product of Republican administrations. They'd say, the shrinking of the government, the expansion of the military, that's Reagan's stuff. They'd say, mass criminalization, it happens because of Republican efforts to change the status quo. They would look at all of these policies and say, hey, Democrats were complicit, but this is Republicanism.
No, it's rooted in Jimmy Carter.
Who you say it's rooted in? It's rooted in Jimmy Carter. Department of Education, the people that put these institutions in place. Because these institutions are not in place to change anything. their bureaucracies put in place to give their illusion of reform, of fixing these institutions. But these institutions are not in place to remedy the problem or change the material outside our homes. And you'll mute that on General Secretary Patience. Come on.
Jimmy Carter began it. Reagan picked it up. But the most seismic damage was done under Clinton, perpetuated by Bush, Obama, and everyone else. And what you had was essentially the merger of two parties into one party. And that's why with the rise of what my friend Glenn Ford used to call Trump's white man's party, you had a transformation which was, the Clinton administration was pivotal, where the Democratic Party transformed itself into the Republican Party, and the Republican Party was pushed so far to the right it became insane and cultish. And Trump, you have to think of Trump as a cult figure, not as a political figure.
If we need to come back here, we could come back here. If you want, you could get this. You can watch this on your own. It's on Al Jazeera. Just put Mark Lemahine on YouTube. And Chris Hedges, you'll see it. But we'll come back. But the reason why I played it, I want you to understand, all these presidents, all these people work for imperialism. They're not here to serve the people. So when you come up with a Department of Education, the average person listen to it and be like, oh, man, yeah, the Department of Education to teach people. That's why these institutions are in place. Yo, how you going to get rid of that? And they really never did the math. They never really did the studying, the qualitative, quantitative study, but for them to be able to make a qualitative analysis. They never really studied. I mean, but, hey, man, we here for you, man. We got you. We got you. The Black Panther Party got you, man. We're going to help you do this study real quick. So, boom, right here. We back here. What is the Department of Education? The Department of Education is a cabinet-level agency created by Jimmy Carter in 1979 to oversee national education policy and administer federal assistance programs for schools across the country. Okay, let's break that down. It was created in 1979 to oversee national education policy and administer federal assistance programs. What have they done since 1979 to aid the education system? I'm in Newark, New Jersey. Right here. You could say wherever you at, you could talk about wherever you at. How has the education been from 1979 to now? Like, we don't want to get rid of the Department of Education. We're giving them a credit or a score. We're giving them a grade. Oversee national education policy. How does those policies work? What's the grade you give them? The department manages a budget of approximately $268 billion and employs about 4,400 staff members. 4,400, a bureaucracy. You see, like, when we talk about Trump being ignorant, when it's time to go vote, those 4,400 staff members go vote. These are the people that really vote, like, that participate in any of these elections and stuff. People that work in the government and these bureaucracies, because most of the people don't vote. The majority of the country don't even participate. Its core responsibilities have included distributing federal financial aid for education. They're going to send that to the Treasury. It's still going to be done under the Treasury. Collecting data on the U.S. schools, identifying major educational issues, and enforcing federal education laws prohibiting discrimination and implementing congressional education legislation. How has that worked out for us since 79? Identify major educational issues. You know what we told them in North New Jersey since the 70s, 80s, 90s, even the 2000s, when I even entered the protest? We told them these schools suck. We want local, we want to have the responsibility to control our schools. They gave the responsibility back after so long. Because I remember when I was in middle school, I think probably like 5th, 6th grade. I'm not sure when they took it away, when the state took over the schools and all of that, because they had local control. And then as an adult, we fighting to get local control back. And then we got local control back in Newark, New Jersey. Go check the schools out now. Because when they say local control, they're not talking about us local people, the residents controlling the schools. That's not what they mean by local control. See, all these names are lies. Like when they say the Department of Education, they're not educating nobody. You dumb as hell. Most of us are here dumb as hell because we don't know no better. We've been less educated by these schools. They're not educating nobody. These are institutions or factories to make workers. to make plantation workers. None of these schools educate you to understand who you are and your purpose in this world. They don't. You go, like right now in North Public Schools, they're reading 3%, 6% math. I mean, like, that's what they're doing. You go into the middle school, the high school, the best they could do is 20, 30% proficiency in math and reading. But you got the Department of Education where people are making all that money. Its core responsibility have included distributing. We read that already. I mean, nothing. There's no purpose for this organization at all. Its most significant function is administering federal student aid program, providing billions in grants. What is it? Why did it click? Work study funds and loans to more than 13 million students. The agency also oversees programs addressing special education, English language acquisition, and education for disadvantaged students. All of that can be sent to another, another government agency to take care of. Critics have long questioned the need for the department, arguing education should remain entirely under state and local control, while its supporters maintain it plays a crucial role in protecting educational equity and providing much-needed federal backing to schools serving vulnerable population. All of that is the false. The local community that we live in, all that money that comes down, they don't go to the students. They don't go to our kids. All that money goes to the bureaucrats. It goes to, like, the superintendent. Yo, General Secretary, how much is the superintendent of North New Jersey making? You there, General Secretary?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
How much is the superintendent of North New Jersey making?
When is the meeting?
How much is how much is the superintendent in North making?
I think close to 3,000.
Look it up and come back. I think he signed a contract for a couple of millions a few years ago. That's where the money goes. The money goes to teachers. The teachers that work in the community make 3 times the people that live in the community make. That's where the money goes. The money doesn't go to the community, to the students. When it's like 17 to 20,000 for each child that goes to these schools, that paycheck don't come to our homes and no parents. That money stay in them buildings, in their bank accounts, and they split that money amongst themselves and give our children the worst education possible. Mama, what's the number, Mama?
He makes $308,972, and he's the highest paid superintendent in Essex County.
You hear that? The highest paid superintendent, Roger Leon. And when you do this video, put his face up there. Roger Leon. Okay, now just Google it right here and put his face up. Roger Leon. Nasty. Yeah, he's a nasty human being, bro. He's nasty. Yeah, I remember I went to the school. We've been working in this community so long. We know all these people. Like, that's why we don't believe in none of these institutions. All of these institutions are controlled by people that are just disgusting human beings. Roger Leon is a disgusting human being. When we used to first start fighting about charter schools coming in, them privatizing our schools, they had Cammie Anderson here. It was Cammie Anderson that was the superintendent. And we used to go to this meeting, like, saying, like, she didn't belong here, that she was racist, that all these things that they were doing were racist. It was attacking on people of color. I mean, they were coming to our communities. Why didn't they take that charter schools to the suburbs? Blah, blah, blah. Roger Leon used to walk up to me like, yeah, come on, keep going, yeah, don't stay on her. When he became superintendent, he burst her up. You should see how he talked to the teachers. But these people are cowards. They're only there for their paychecks, so they're not going to come out. Like, I'm surprised all these people haven't come out and gone after Roger Leon for the way he treat them, the way he treat the teachers. They haven't done nothing. I haven't seen nothing anywhere about how Roger Leon treats them. But I was in a meeting one time. There was a racist athletic director, racist. We went to court and everything. Boy, he gonna try to take me to court because I recorded him and I put out stuff about him being racist. Like, we went to court. He took me to court for like 3 years. I was in court for 3 years with this dude, and he said he told the judge that I was harassing him and all. That I some proof how he was harassing you. he showed video of me showing him being racist. The judge threw that thing out. But I had to go to court. There are penalties to challenging these people. But anyway, when I told Roger Leone about what he was doing, Roger Leone brought him in, brought me in with the principal and another and the basketball coach. And we all sat there. So it was me, the basketball coach, the athletic director that was a white guy, the principal that was a black dude, and Roger Leone, I don't know, he's a Cuban white guy.
One second, Chairman.
You said what?
So there's something called the Creed Report. So a lot of the students, parents, and people like us made complaints to the Board of Education regarding racial, sexual harassment, and things of those nature. So because the school board was getting so many complaints, they did a report to see what was going on. It's called the Creed Report. That report was supposed to be released to the public. Roger Leone refused to release that report.
Like, as the criminal that he is. I mean, but when I got to the meeting, he was sitting there. He was sitting there, the black principal, the black basketball coach, and the white athletic director that was violating on all levels. I'm talking, he took a pen and stuck it, I think he stuck it to his wrist or to his neck. I don't remember where he stuck the pen at, to the basketball coach. Because the whole thing is, he didn't want me working with the children in the school because he was trying to use the children to go play for some basketball team like in some white suburbs like an hour away. He was using the children in there. He was getting paid to send those children on the basketball team to go play for some dude like an hour away for them to play on his team because he had some children from the ghetto that could run fast, that could play. And these were all kids that I was coaching, that we was working with for free. So when I came there, I didn't know all of this. When I came there, I discovered all of this. So we sat down in front of Roger Leone. Yo, Roger Leone told the principal, I don't give a F what you're talking about. He told the basketball coach, I don't give a F what you're talking about. Yo, he's in charge, and y'all better find a way to deal with him. But they couldn't say nothing because they were scared of their jobs. I'm like, you could talk to them like that. I'm like, but F you. I'm like, whatever he does, whatever this racist person does going forward, that's on you. I'm like, I don't work here. I don't work for the government. I'm like, but I'm telling you, I don't want him around my kids. If you want to keep him around here, that's on you. And I walked out of the meeting. But just the way that he talked to the principal and he talked to that teacher, that basketball coach, I already knew how he was coming. But that's where the money go. When the Department of Education get that money that they say they allocated, they give it to people like that that are going to maintain the failure in our community. That's what the Department of Education does. It put these bureaucrats in place that they control. To impose what we have in our schools now. Because really, if you want to keep it a buck, all that stuff is controlled locally. The mayor, the governor, these are the people that control the curriculum, anything that goes on in our community. School board, it's really not done by the Department of whatever, education. They don't educate nothing. And the proof is in the pudding. Everybody dumb as hell could barely read. I mean, like, we could go on and read. If you want to read the story, you could go on to in the gallery. But what we talked about, that's what they basically do. Nothing. That's what the Department of Education does. But you see all these people, all these so-called liberal, Democrats, all these people, these academics, coming on here lying about all these institutions that have never done nothing to serve the people. What was it, USAID? All these counterintelligence organizations, they come up here like, it's giving out aid. Like, I can't believe he's getting rid of all these institutions that's giving out aid. They're lying to you. USAID is a CIA, whatever government organization that goes into communities, that goes into countries and uses those spaces that they're in to overthrow. Whoever is in power that's not going to do what the American government or the oligarchs in America want them to do, they use USAID to overthrow those people. And then you have all these people, these Democrats, coming on here and lying, talking about this stuff, do good things. It don't do nothing good. None of these institutions serve anybody. Department of Education, USAID, all of this is all bureaucracy. It's all bureaucracy to maintain the system that's in place. And Trump is such a freaking idiot. He's going to dismantle all these agencies despite himself because he's too stupid to understand why they're in place. And those same people that he's firing, those are the enemies you're making to go against you politically. Because those are the people that are there to keep this thing up. Those federal workers, all these people, those are the people that vote. Those are the people that really entertain this garbage, this fake political system. Nobody, I don't know anybody in the hood supporting any of this goofy stuff. Yo, when I go outside, ain't nobody like, damn, son. Hey, yo, bro, you know Trump just got rid of the Department of Education. Talking about that outside? People worrying about surviving. Yo, I was talking to somebody about about what happened with COVID and all of that. They said he told me, like, yeah, I took the COVID shot. So I asked him, like, how come you're not mad when you find about the news that's coming out, that the stuff that they're saying, that all that mask, all that distance, all this stuff that they're saying that it's coming out, all of it was false, that these people lied. He like, I don't care. He like, you know why people don't care? Because they're too busy trying to survive. They're just worried about surviving now, so they don't care about that stuff. They're worried about paying their bills. So people really don't care. People are really not focused on it. They're not even worried about that no more. They're not thinking about that. He took the shot like it's over. That's the world that we're living in. So like when people are talking about the Department of Education, ask them, what does the Department of Education do? Because they don't do curriculum. They teach nobody. They talking about equality. Go in these schools and tell me about the equality you see from 79 to now. Because you have from 79 to 2025, you have about 45, 46 years of data, of quantitative data to study, to see if this agency has done anything to serve the people. But this is what Democrats are fighting about. This is what they're over here complaining about, telling the people, you need to go fight, we need to get in the streets. Man, screw you. You get in the streets. Anybody got time for that? So this is what's his name? Let me make sure I give this man his just dues. What is his name? Let me tell you his name. This is Daniel Markovitz. He's a professor at Yale Law School and founding director of the Yale Center for Study of Private Law. He's the author of the Meritocracy Trap. And he's going to explain to you, if you listen, how the education system really work out here.
Tired of the same.
This is the education, the Department of Education that everybody's complaining about.
As mayor, Steve Fuller took
oh, God. They got to shoot commercials on you. I can't control that.
Lives for the better. As governor, he'll stand up for us.
Sure you will.
We're leaders in bioscience, aerospace, tech.
What rich people do is they use their money to determine what everything else happens in society, even if everyone else has enough to eat and adequate shelter, because they don't have equal power. Daniel,
you know what he just said, though, right? Rich people use their money to control everything. Even though you eating, even though you feel like it look like you're doing good, they got all the power. Their money controls all the power. I want you to remember that. Because most people think, you know what, I'm not going to go too far. But I want you to remember that. The education system, everything that we deal with, those with the money control the agenda.
Markovitz, welcome to How the Light Gets In. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. So you're a professor at Yale Law School, one of the most elite educational institutions in the world. And yet a lot of your work recently has been critical about those very institutions and the people you educate. So have you felt a tension in critiquing the very system you excel in?
I mean, there's a tension of a certain sort, but I don't know that it's a different tension from anybody who has privilege critiquing the kind of privilege that they have.
So they're asking him, like, what kind of feedback that you got from your critique that you got of the education system, and he's saying, hey, man, it's like any criticism that somebody got privilege, because he got privilege. He works at Yale University. He's a professor at Yale. He probably came from money. I mean, like, if you go to Yale, you came from money. They're not just letting anybody in Yale.
You know, one of the things about this economic and social order that we've built is that
we didn't build this. You see, and this is what academics do all the time. They try to make the people think that they're part of the structure, the society, the way it's orchestrated, the way it's built, as if we have a contract. We don't have no contract. They do what they want to do as oligarchs, as the rich. Even he just said it a few seconds ago, that the powerful control everything. So what you talking about some weak? See, but this is the double talk that they have to try to not to cross that line, for them to be dealt with. Because if you cross that line, they're going to deal with you. So he just said we not part of nothing, bro. It's what they got. It's what they're doing. What the oligarchs, what the rich, what the corporations are doing. I mean, we draw, as Panthers, we draw a clear line. Yo, me, us, people in my tax bracket, poor people, people in the hood, have nothing to do with anything that these people are doing, from the education system to the destruction of the planet to anything that they're doing. Go ahead. Who else has to say? General Secretary, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just want to also point out, like, you breaking down when he say we, who the we is, because they like to distort the language. For instance, Harvard, I believe it's Harvard, because I was having this conversation at my job. I work at a community college. So Harvard is offering free tuition to families who make under $200,000 or less. So an administrator at the college is saying, oh, that's good, like trying to encourage students at this community college, students that are the demographic of poor and mostly immigrant students that are being hunted down right now, right? She's trying to convince them to go ahead to Harvard for that free tuition. So I chimed in. I'm like, look, it's not really free.
You keep chiming into stuff you ain't supposed to chime into, but go ahead.
No, because this is important. It's not really free, and the students have to know that. Once you go through financial aid, which includes loans, if whatever your financial aid doesn't cover, then Harvard would take up that cost. And Harvard, because the same thing has happened at Rutgers, the College of Elizabeth, where Raj Baraka said he ran and got 40 students. There were no students signed up for this program. So he ran and grabbed 40 students, most of them not even ready to go to college, and shipped them off to the College of Elizabeth claiming free tuition. Let's ask us where those 40 students are academically right now. No one can tell you. But a lot of these students are grabbing this so-called free tuition and going to these high-priced colleges, and at the end of it, they still end up with loans, and they're trying to figure out why, which also feeds into the whole debt that we're collecting. So these students like us come out with loans. They can't afford rent. They can't pay their loans. They can't do nothing. So they're continually putting our kids in this cycle of lies and debt just to make those institutions more money.
Nah, because that's what their job is. Their job is to maintain the status quo. But I'm going to let you know this now. If you work in any of these institutions, don't tell these people nothing. Don't say nothing to them, because they know what they're doing. It's like being in Massa House, and you're going to tell Massa, you're going to tell the workers in there how they should be moving, what they're doing is wrong. You know what they're going to do? They're going to go right to Massa and tell them this Negro talking crazy. And they're going to put you right back in the plantation with the rest of the Negroes. So while you're in Massa House, if you're listening, don't argue with these people. Don't explain nothing to these people. You just view it, see it, and you keep it trucking. I mean, that's the advice that we give you as an organization, the Black Panthers. Do not be in their houses, in Massa House, trying to change anything in Massa House. You watch it, you see what's going on, and you bring it back to the collective so we can plan in the Underground Railroad. But this is exactly what they're doing, and that's what he's talking about. And he's going to allude to it even here.
It creates situations in which people who see through its structures have incentives and really only possibilities to act in ways that promote its structures. And this is maybe
that's what he just said.
A extreme version of that. And
that's what he just said. The mayor sent all those kids to that university. They only act and they do things in the institution that promotes the institution. That's what all these politicians, all this managerial black people, Spanish people, white people. That is what their duty is. They're not there to bring about liberation of nobody or educate anybody.
The tension is real, but I don't think it's only sort of particular or specific to someone in my circumstances.
So Yale Law School hasn't knocked on your door and said, can you turn that down?
Oh, that's a separate question. No, it hasn't. But that's also a profound reflection of the system we're in, which is that the system is sufficiently stable at the moment, and its elite institutions are sufficiently self-confident that they're quite happy to have people inside them criticizing them, even very aggressively. Partly, I think, because they believe that at the end, the criticisms will not be effective.
Yeah, that at the end, they believe the criticism will not be effective. So all the people that you see that be criticized and criticized, remember I said it earlier, they just be chatting. There's nothing concrete in place to change the condition of what's going on. So these institutions just look at it like they're just chatting. Just let them talk. And they're not going to change nothing. They're not going to change anything because there's no institutions built that will be able to challenge them. There's no organization being put in place that will be able to challenge them. Like if you name the top activists in the country, organizers in the country, I mean, who you going to name? Who everybody going to name? Everybody going to say people like Al Sharpton. Because they, like Yale University don't know Africa. They don't know the new African Black Panther Party, but they know about Al Sharpton. And they know everything Al Sharpton, Tamika Mallory, Mike Simon, all these fake revolutionaries, activists, what's her name? Anyway, all these people like AOC, all these fake people, all these fake politicians, they're not threatening their bottom line, so they don't care. So you
that super black girl magic Angela Rye that freaked out that somebody touched her on TV.
All these people, like all of them talking. You see, these institutions know that what they're doing, just chatting, is not going to do anything to change the material conditions outside. See, when those people and all these athletes, celebrities, and all these people, fake activists, they start organizing and building institutions that are going to take people and educate them and take them from those schools, yeah, that's when they're going to become threatened. But right now, nobody's doing that. Nobody's aiming at building institutions. We don't know any other organization. We are the Black Panthers, North New Jersey. We don't know any other organization here in North New Jersey, in New York, anywhere around here that's trying to build institutions. That's trying to build institutions to serve the community. Every organization do is talk about electoral politics because all these organizations are funded by the same politicians and corporations. When they say they're nonprofits, when they say you're not, where do you think the money coming from? They're not coming from the poor people. Your money coming from these corporations, these government officials. You're an NGO. You're a political operative with these nonprofits. And they're not trying to serve the people. So we don't know any organization that's coming together and saying they're building institutions. If you know them, send them this way. Because together we'll be stronger. Because that's our purpose in the community, to build institutions. That's what we're laying the groundwork for. And he's telling you right now, these institutions, these government agencies, these schools, they don't feel threatened. In Colombia, all these places, they're over there joining with the federal government to deport people that are legally in the United States or legally here. Just imagine the university, the school that people are going to, are having private calls, talking to the rich people, the oligarchs, to remove people from the country that's protesting a genocide. That's what we're dealing with now. And like Chris Hedges said, all these things were made possible by Democrats. Both parties are guilty. And all Trump has to do is just flick the light on. What did Obama do when he was in power? How many countries were they bombing? How many people did they lock up? Yo, what was it? The one that turned into a girl? Chelsea Manning. I think that was under Obama. Snowden and them. Was that under Obama too? Yeah. Those people was under Obama. They were getting rid of people. I mean, they were sending people away. Like, let's know that. What's the last one name? Julian Assange. Julian Assange. This dude showed video of the military killing people. They're shooting people. They're in their helicopters, they're killing civilians, killing human beings. He released all this video of the crimes that these people was committing. And it was under democratic leadership. They have to know what they accuse him of. They said he raped somebody. This is what they always come up with. This is the stuff they throw at you. He raped somebody.
Chairman, they was locking up the students protesting Palestine, right? Undivided.
I already said she's saying they were locking up students protesting the genocide, right? Under Biden. So this is now Republican, Democrat. The entire system is corroded. And if you want to do something, if you want to change it, you have to create your own institutions.
So, both in the UK and I think to a great extent in the US, people from both sides of the political spectrum say they believe in equality of opportunity.
I hear the oh my God.
Political machine. As mayor, Steve Phillips took on the political machine and corporations that change our lives for the better. As governor,
hey, yo, this is my commercial. We're going to cut it out. We're going to cut all this stuff out when we post this show. This is YouTube. This is what they're doing on YouTube. I ain't got anything to do with it.
A lot of them also equate that with meritocracy. They say, well, it's a system in which those who get rewarded in society are those who deserve to be rewarded based on their innate talents and their hard work. What's wrong with that picture?
So I think there are 2 points that are really...
Like even if when you talk about, he's about to answer the question right now about meritocracy. When you talk about why the schools are failing and all this stuff, they always push that down to the families. They push it down to the parents. They're not working hard enough. They're not getting enough education. I mean, they're not teaching their kids how to read, even though they got like 3-4 jobs, and they're paying taxes for the taxes to be used to educate their children. But at the end of the day, everything is always focused back on the on the people, on the parents, because they don't want to change the institutions that are in place. So they blame it back to the parents. And he's about to explain to you, like, yeah, hard work is important. I agree with that. Let me play.
Really important to make here. The first is that under meritocracy.
Oh yeah. So hard work is important, and and natural ability. It's important, yeah, because every natural ability is spread out by and large across the population. So your natural ability to learn, to study, to work, your your drive. Like he said, like, yeah, they always focus on those two. See, but this is the last part they never focus on. Training. Training is so valuable. Training is probably number one in understanding and learning. It's training. For the last, since 2008 to now, we've been working with kids with basketball, because that was the first means we used to organize the children in the community, to reach out to them, was basketball. And you know what we noticed? The kids that were real good, that were good and really made it through and made it to the next level, like going to college and all of that, the difference from them and the children in our community, in the inner city, is training. Going outside, learning how to dribble, putting in hours training, shooting the ball, all of this, learning the defensive, learning offensive, learning the game. That is huge if you want to play organized basketball. So as an organization, what do? We have practices every day. We take them out to scrimmages. We watch video. Everything we provide for free. In the summertime, we have a whole basketball camp where we're working with these kids every day. Even though we're using them to organize them for them to be able to change the conditions in their community and be future Panthers, that's why we did. But the reason why they came to us for us to organize them was because they want to play basketball. So basketball became our task, teaching them that. And the main thing we had to teach them was the game. Go to the schools. Where the kids learning? How are they being taught? I just told you, the math and reading proficiency level of 5 and 6%. What training are those children getting to be able to go challenge anybody in the world when they leave those schools? And that's what he's talking about. He said they never focus on the training. In the Department of Education, whatever you want to call it, all this organized, the mayors, the council people, the governors, all these people, all the philanthropy, has done nothing to train our children in these schools. Nothing. School to prison pipeline. So why do we support these institutions?
Advantage is distributed based on accomplishment. But there are 3 inputs to accomplishment: natural ability, effort, and training. And people who tend to champion meritocracy focus on natural ability and effort because they think, to my mind correctly, that natural abilities are more or less randomly distributed across the population, and even that differences in natural ability aren't debilitatingly great. And they think that anybody can put in effort. The thing they neglect is training. And training really works. And what's happened in our system is that the new elite, the elite that itself reached its position through meritocratic means, has an unmatched willingness and interest in training its children, and the enormous resources it gets through meritocratic pay enable it to invest in training its children in ways that nobody else can match.
Now, you've got to really listen to this interview. He goes on in depth. It's 28 minutes. We're not going to play the 28 minutes here. We're trying to be out of here in the next couple of minutes. No, but you need to go really listen to this interview and understand how the education system in the country works. Not listen to these fake media organizations, these fake politicians, these fake academics. All these people are frauds. They compromise. They compromise by the system that you have a problem with, that you have recognized is problematic, is corrupt. They work for these institutions, and they just want to maintain the institutions because they get paid. So they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Go listen to them. And he told you that these institutions don't really care anyway because they think like they have no threat. Nobody's going to threaten them, so they just let him say what he want to say. But go listen to the rest of the interview. I mean, but like just a few words. How many minutes was it? Like 3 minutes. He's already told you that this system is controlled by oligarchs. They put, you know what? I gotta let it play more. I want him to finish saying what are you about to say?
With the result that the children of rich parents are out-trained. And even though they don't have more natural ability and they don't have a greater propensity to put in effort, all the training that gets pushed into them is incredibly effective. And means that, for example, at an institution like mine, there are in typical recent years more children whose parents are in the top 1% of the income distribution than in the entire bottom half. And incidentally, this...
Did you hear that? With the whole public, with the Department of Education in place in 79, it's in Yale. There are more people in that school, in the 1%, from the 1% families, than the bottom 50% combined. That's, what was it? The Department of Education supposed to be for equity and all this stuff. That's what it's supposed to stand for. By that organization being erected, nothing changed. Actually, things got worse. I'm gonna let him talk.
It is not limited to elite educational institutions. There was a study a few years ago about Major League Baseball in the United States. And
you're about to say it was a study done about baseball, and most of the players now, their fathers did baseball, so like they trained them how to hit a curveball from 3 years old. They've been getting that training. Like I said, the average kid in the hood is not getting that training, and by the time they're 18, their father know how to hit a curveball. They've been getting training how to hit a curveball. By the time they're 18, they know how to hit a curveball. While Roscoe in the hood, like, never really played. They had nobody to teach him. All he did was play in the backyard. He could run fast, but he really don't know how to hit a curveball because he never really had the training. So when you go up for to play baseball, who you think gonna get the job? But that's what he's talking about.
You're 18, you will know how to. That's true under meritocracy because the elite out-trains everybody else. But it's true under every system. When outcomes are too different, those who have the most will use their privilege and power within the system or against the system, but often within the system, to secure opportunities for their children, and so equality of opportunity disappears.
So they create a whole system that is based on money. And they use their money because it's legal. They made it legal. You know, every time we listen to this, listen to all this criminal things that the system is doing, they always say it's legal because they wrote laws to make it legal. The politicians wrote laws to make it legal. Like when we was talking about the housing crisis in North and going around the country, they say the same thing. Like the banks are coming in, the politicians are writing laws, whatever, to enable the banks and corporations to take their homes, but all of it is illegal because they wrote laws to make it legal. So this is their system that they're operating. And most of us sitting here and just talking about some, yeah, this is democracy. Then, man, shut up. You're stupid. This is not a democracy. You're in an oligarchy. Your word don't mean nothing unless you create your own institutions, unless you organize as a people to build your own institutions.
Great. I'd like to ask you about that in a second, but should we stay on this idea of meritocracy?
Yeah, what you guys to say?
When he was talking about those that are privileged will work within the system to make sure their kids have everything that they need to succeed. So that brings me to Lakewood, New Jersey. Again, a lot of the things that we discussed, you can find locally happening here in New Jersey. Lakewood, New Jersey was a predominantly black town, and probably still is. But over the years, they had a large Jewish demographic moved in. So the public school system, because a lot of the Jewish kids don't go to public school. They go to their Jewish schools, and only they can go to their Jewish schools. So what happened was, some way, somehow, these Jewish schools are being funded by public money in Lakewood. So now, the whole public education system in Lakewood has blown apart. They can't afford to service the traditionally public school students because most of the money is going to fund these Jewish schools. And a lot of our people think like, well, why can't we be like the Jewish people? They have their own communities, they have their own schools, their kids are able to go back to their motherland every year because they are supported and funded by this system. If the Black Panther Party wanted to have a school within the system, they will not allow it. So going back to what Chairman said and what the gentleman is saying in the video, those with privilege are rewarded within this system. And those of us that want to break away from this system and create a new system that serves the people, we are demonized and looked upon as, evil black version of the KKK or whatever you want to call it.
More power to the people. Wow.
I remember when we used to go to tournaments down in Lakewood, you could see like all the Jewish people walking on the streets with their hats on and everything. I remember that.
Papa just said when we used to go to, I was just talking about we used to be coaching. So part of the coaching was we had to go find scrimmages, find tournaments to play in. And we used to go in Lakewood. We used to drive to Lakewood. And when we used to drive there with all the kids in the car, they could see all the Jewish people walking, whatever, doing what they're doing, whatever. Like, they could see this. We even played in Jewish schools. Like, and when you go inside the Jewish schools, you see how their schools are maintained. You see what's going on in the schools, and then they come back to North and see how their schools are. No, it's a whole different world.
So a lot of people who critique our current socioeconomic arrangement argue that, well, meritocracy isn't working. We don't really have a meritocratic system. But you say, no, we do have a meritocratic system that's working, but that's unjust. What is it that the first group is missing? Do they miss this kind of crucial aspect of training that goes into meritocracy?
So I'm obviously, I have a dog in this fight. So people should discount what I say on account of the fact that I have a view. On the other hand, I've thought about it a lot. I mean, the disadvantage of thinking about something a lot is that you have a view. The advantage is that you thought about it a lot.
Now, you just hear the weird stuff he's saying? Like, because when you try to, like, make sure you don't get fired. He's saying, no, nobody should listen to me. Nobody should listen to what I'm saying because I got a dog in the fight. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I've done the studying. That's why people should be listening to you. But he's so scared, he want to be careful of what he's saying. He said, don't listen to me because I have a dog in the fight. You're talking weird. You don't even sound consistent. He's supposed to be a teacher at Yale. So we shouldn't listen to you. Who should we listen to? Somebody that don't think about it, somebody that don't study it, somebody that don't have no ideas on it. They're even afraid of what their findings. They're afraid for people to study them. Because if people listen to him, they're not going to want to go to Yale no more, participate in the system. Weirdo.
And that's a balance that people have to strike when they think about this. But the reason I began with this preface is that it's not part of my view that the elite aren't cheating. The elite are cheating. And so there is some degree of elite capture, of rent-seeking, and just of outright fraud.
Outright fraud. When was the last time you saw them lock an elite up? Lock up landlord. Yo, when you put the TV on, put on the local station, they talk about somebody getting stabbed, somebody being father shooting them, some 14-year-old with the police outside, but they don't talk about the real crime. The real crime of these corporations coming in and making a whole community poor, poison a whole community. They never talk about none of that. And he just told you, they're committing fraud on people. These people are criminals. But you never see these people on your TV stations, on the MSNBC, CNN. You never see them on your local stations. Because the entire system is there to protect them. Protect their stealing.
And that's an important part of what's happening in the system. But my view is it is not the dominant explanation for the concentration of privilege at the top and the concentration of advantage in the children of rich parents. And, you know, one way to illustrate this is that in the United States, for example, if you are a big enough donor to a university, that affects your child's ability to get into that university, and it makes a difference. But the amount you have to donate is very, very large. $5, $10, $15 million. I don't know the exact amount because the university is being ashamed.
Listen to this last part. This is the last part we're going to play. When you start dropping these numbers, then we're going to move on.
This, keep it secret. A very small number of kids get in that way. If your parents are alumni, that also helps you. But it's debatable how many kids get in on account of the alumni privilege or preference. And one reason that I know this is that my own law school has no alumni preference at all. And yet, our student body looks like the student body of other places, full of the children of privileged parents. The reason why is that the rich can secure, and in my mind, unjust advantage for their children within the system, rather than by violating the meritocratic rules. And to give you a sense of the force and power of this, here are two statistics about the United States that are striking. On the SAT test, which is the college admissions test, the gap between the typical SAT score of a child whose parents are in the top 5% of the income distribution and a middle-class child is now about 250 points.
Think about that for a minute. 5%, rich people, the richest people in the country, when their kids go take the SAT test in the country, they're scoring 250 points. 250 points. Better than the middle class. So who will be the middle class? So that would be like the superintendent that's making 300 and some thousand a year. The professors. Let me see. Accountant, lawyers, all this middle doctors, all this middle managerial people. So the top 5% has a 250, their children, 250 gap. Like they test better, 250 from the middle class. Now, he's about to talk about the middle class and us, people like me that are poor, that are living paycheck to paycheck, no job, out here struggling. Now, he's going to talk about the difference in our test scores with those in the middle.
The gap between the typical SAT score of a middle-class child and a child that grows up below the poverty line is just 125 points.
He said just 100. So the middle class and the people down the pay scale, like the poor people, it's 150 points different. So even though the 5% is up to 50 on the middle class, the middle class is still on the poor people, on the people that's working day to day, paycheck to paycheck. So they're not trying to, the middle class is not trying to align themselves with the people down at the bottom, the poor people, to change the system. The middle managerial class is trying to fight to get at the top where the 5% at. That's what we're dealing with. Those are the issues we're confronting when you have people like Mark Lamar Hale say like they're speaking for the poor people, the people down at the bottom, people making paycheck to paycheck. You know, people like Mark Lamar Hale may even include themselves with the people down at the bottom to try to act like they're with us so we could join them to try to fight the 5%, but not even fight, protest, so they could make more money, so that Mark Lamar Hale could make more money and they could get better test scores. Because all of these test scores, all these barometers is what predicts who's going to be in the leadership role or the managerial role the next generation. While the masses still stay down at the bottom. So when the people, when they say to you, like you have to organize with these people, or you have to like form partnership with these people, the managerial people, in hard numbers, according to the data, these people have no reason to work with us. They're not trying to commit class suicide and come down there where we at. So their philosophy and the way that they look at stuff is compromised. Look at the same things that we're dealing with, like the education system. You know, what are all these professionals, this middle class, Uncle Tom's telling us? To go vote, to go put them in power. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to show you exactly what they're telling us to do. I'm going to show you exactly. Let's go exactly. Right here. Newark Board of Education, Newark School of Data Science and Information Technology. Newark is making history. The April 15th school board election will be the first in New Jersey where 16-year-olds can vote. Who asked them that? Who told the Newark school board that's what we wanted? We wanted 16-year-olds to vote. Yo, we told them the school is racist. The school not teaching our children anything. We want the curriculum change. Nobody ever said, not one single revolutionary activist ever said you change the voting age to 16. To celebrate, students at Newark School of Data Science and Information Technology gathered for a special rally focused on the power of their vote. So they come in there, this is our children. So we at work, we working on the plantation somewhere, and these people that are supposed to teach our children, they're here trying to use our children to supersede what we've been demanding. So now they're going to use our children for credibility. They to say like, oh look at the children. Children support us. Look at the vote. The numbers went up on the people that voted because they know the community not voting for them. The community don't go out to vote for them. Only 3% of the people go out to vote because they see these people are frauds. Roger Leone is this one right here in the middle. He had a light pole and everything. Ain't none of that work. His fat ass don't want to do no push-ups. He don't want to walk. He don't want to run. He just want to just keep eating and use our tax dollars to get. Yeah, it's back again recorded. All right, but yeah, let me read through this real quick. Superintendent Roger Leone, the dude right there with the lipo that I was talking about, that had it already, use our tax dollars to go get lipo. I mean, like, he already started again. But anyway, Superintendent Roger Leone, Board President Hassani K. Council, his father's on the council, city council, and he on the school board, and Principal Dr. Liana Sumay, welcome student at dignitaries, encouraging them to register before the March 25 deadline to vote. Governor Phil Murphy, Mayor Ross Baraka, First Lady Tammy Murphy, Lieutenant Governor Taisha Ray, Assemblywoman Cleopatra Tucker, and all right, and Congresswoman LaMonica MacGyver addressed the Abdul Mariquinho also took the stage to share their thoughts on historic opportunity. Or student Brian the stuff that pisses me off the most is how they're using our children for counterintelligence. They're using our own children to miseducate and attack our own communities. Because these children that they brainwashed, that they took pictures with, that they're standing there with, these are the same children that they're going to use a generation from now to oppress our children and grandchildren. These people are nefarious. The event ended on a high note as A Boogie with the hoodie made a surprise appearance, celebrating alongside students and reminding them that their voices matter. Remember they had, what's her name, twerking at the Democratic Convention? She was Megan Thee Stallion. She was out there twerking because they believe that's what make people go out to support them. So what they bring out to the kids, A Boogie. How much did they pay A Boogie? A Boogie ain't come down here for free to just come down here and come talk to these kids. They paid him. This is where the money's going. When you talk about where is the money going, it's not going to bigger class sizes. It's going to pay them and to do these kind of stunts. But this is the question that we asking right here on the bottom. How much did you pay A Boogie with the hoodie? And where can our children run for these board seats? The children that you're using to go vote, they can't even run for those board seats. Or you ought to just need their votes to vote people in that have not listened to them for decades. They're just using their votes to vote people in that haven't listened to them at all. The student representative on the board vote isn't included in the decisions made by the board. They have a student representative on the board. Even their vote is not included in nothing they do, but they want to use the kids to vote. But the student representative on the board can vote for someone whose decisions are included. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense at all what they're doing because it's not there to make sense. It's there to give them the cover for the crimes that they're committing in our community, the miseducation of our children. Like you say, oh, Africa, you're being hyperbolic. Go look at the test scores. Go look at the reading proficiency, the math proficiency. Go look at all the claims of assault, racism, everything that's going on in the school system, and nobody's being held accountable. Nobody. They get studies done, and they tuck them under the table, they hide them. They flush them. Rather than entertaining these people, having our children being preyed on and played with by these people right here, like Roger Leone. Yo, why are we not organizing to build our own schools? Why are we not doing that? You think going to vote for these people or participating in this system is going to do anything to help our children, to help us? If you think that, then you're miseducated and you don't have a firm grasp on the society in which you're dealing with. This is when you want to hear the people. This is the people right here. When the people come down, this is the city council right here. They go down to the city council with all these frauds, these paid scammers up here that act like they're working for the residents, but they're really not. They're only up there to pass laws that benefit the corporations, the slum lords, the people that are exploiting the community. That's their only purpose up there. Because they've been there for decades. Nothing has changed. Everything in the community continue to get worse. And the capitalists, the landlords, the slum lords, all these people keep getting richer and richer. Now listen to everything that we've been talking about, listen to the rest of them, go up there and talk about it.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Brown, North New Jersey. Dr. Mike, something sticky on it. First, I want to begin. Happy birthday to my daughter, Sweet 16. Hey, I wouldn't say her name, but no one contacted her to register to vote in the next election, and she's a North resident. So how are we contacting?
She said nobody contacted her daughter for her daughter to vote in the next election. It's just, I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter if they contact her. It changes nothing. But this is what we talk about political education, about the people in the community being educated to understand these institutions will do nothing to serve you or
to all register. Is it only in public schools? Are the charter and technology schools contacted? Because everybody's not on social media, and the youth, from what I understand, are on Instagram, so I haven't really seen it sit there. But I do want to say happy birthday to her. I'm happy about that. And she understands that her mama fights too much, but she does understand I need to remind the people that this is the last weekend for petitions for the Assembly. Get out. Assembly decided they wanted to increase the petitions from 100 to 250 because they want to stay in. There's so many other things to talk about, but that's all they were worried about. And, I encourage everyone, make a change because community, we're our only team. We're the real machine. But we are
the real machine, but we cannot work inside these our children. like you say, oh, Africa, you're being hyperbolic. Huh? Look at the test scores. Go look at the reading proficiency, the math proficiency. Go look at all the claims of assault, racism, everything that's going on in the school system, and nobody's being held accountable. Nobody. They get studies done, and they tuck them under the table, they hide them. They flush them. They flush them. Rather than entertaining these people, having our children being preyed on and played with by these people right here, like Roger Leone. Yo, why are we not organizing to build our own schools? Why are we not doing that? You think going to vote for these people or participating in this system is going to do anything to help our children, to help us? If you think that, then you're miseducated, and you don't have a firm grasp on the society in which you're dealing with. This is when you want to hear the people. This is the people right here. When the people come down, this is the city council right here. They go down to the city council with all these frauds, these paid scammers up here that act like they're working for the residents, but they're really not. They're only up there to pass laws that benefit the corporations, the slum lords, the people that are exploiting the community. That's their only purpose up there. Because they've been there for decades. Nothing has changed. Everything in the community continue to get worse. And the capitalists, the landlords, the slum lords, all these people keep getting richer and richer. Now listen to everything that we've been talking about, listen to the rest of them, go up there and talk about it.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Brown, North New Jersey. Got the mic, something sticky on it. First, I want to begin. Happy birthday to my daughter, Sweet 16. Hey, I wouldn't say her name, but no one contacted her to register to vote in the next election, and she's a North resident. So how are we contacting?
She said nobody contacted her daughter for her daughter to vote in the next election. It's just, I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter if they contact her. It changes nothing. But this is what we talk about political education, about the people in the community being educated to understand these institutions will do nothing to serve you or
to all register. Is it only in public schools? Are the charter and technology schools contacted? Because everybody's not on social media, and the youth, from what I understand, are on Instagram, so I haven't really seen it sit there. But I do want to say happy birthday to her. I'm happy about that. And she understands that her mama fights too much, but she does understand I need to remind the people that this is the last weekend for petitions for Assembly. Get out. Assembly decided they wanted to increase the petitions from 100 to 250 because they want to stay in. There's so many other things to talk about, but that's all they were worried about. And, I encourage everyone, make a change. Because community, we're our only team. We're the real machine. But we
are the real machine, but we cannot work inside these institutions. Our City Hall meeting should be somewhere totally different. Nobody should be coming to City Hall to come talk to them about anything because they're not going to help you. Since we know that, we know that's an organization. When we say building institution, we want other people that's coming in, other organizations that are serious, for us to build our own City Hall meetings where people don't go here because they're not going to do anything to help you. We've been there. I've been to those meetings. After a while, I understand what they're about. Y'all remember when I used to go there, I used to be afraid, like these people are so smart, like I used to be nervous. After a while, I just saw them as buffoons. And then after a while, after that, I just started speaking to the people, and I went there speaking to the people, telling them don't come here. So they banned me. They called the police and they told me I couldn't be there no more. They made sure they didn't even let me through the door to go upstairs. Like, this is what we dealing with. They're talking about Trump, all this thing like Trump is racist and this is going to do this. The Democrats are doing it right here.
We need to recognize that and understand that. Because unfortunately, some individuals that we elected forgot about us. I only become important when you see me, like, hey, Ms. Brown. Okay. But I'm not the only person in this city with a situation. So I really would like to know, how do we follow up? Because no one really knows who your aides are. Not to call you out, West Ward, but it seems like you changed staff. I was looking at some pictures. I'm in the South Ward, not really privy to who's the aides there or how to contact them.
West Ward, that's Dupree Kelly. Remember Lost to the Underground? I mean, like, dude from the rapper from Lost to the Underground is the councilman for the West Ward. Boy, dumber than a doorknob. Even he trying to get the police on me too. He trying to call the police on the Black Panther Party. All these people are so revolutionary, and they be attacking the Black Panther Party. Who got a comment? Go ahead. Who got a comment?
I do, Chairman.
Yes.
Ms. Nadira Brown, she is part of one of the mayor's organization. I think it's called North Community Street Team. It's in one of their Zoom meetings because they make it public. She is literally telling them like she needs help and she don't understand how she's part of this group and they can't even help her, but they're supposed to be helping the people, the public.
All power to the people. No, she's working with them in this organization, and she's critiquing them. She don't know she's about to get kicked out soon, but she's critiquing them. But it's all political awareness, political consciousness. Like I said, don't go into these institutions trying to get them to change it, because they're going to get rid of you.
I'm really privy to who's the aides there or how to contact them. I'm sorry for the pause. I've always been told I bring up too much, but I asked for a town hall meeting. But I noticed a lot of groups are having their own town hall meetings with their own agendas instead of taking our time to talk to the people.
We should have our own town hall meeting. The people. Now we're dumb. Sis. Like, if you see this video, if we get your information, we're going to try to get in contact with you. But nothing we're going to solve has anything to do with them. And that's why they're miseducating most of the people in the community. For people think this is the only way to change the conditions in our community. No, we got options. This is absolutely the wrong way to do it. Absolutely the wrong way to do it.
We have a lot to say, and we can't just say it in 5 minutes in front of you. But I've noticed I've been coming here for 2 years, and it doesn't really matter what I say. Even the points that I bring up, because no one has really tried to address them. And no, so let me take that back. Councilman Roundtree.
Roundtree, Quintana, she's going to say they tried, but they ain't trying hard enough. No, but like, this is what we're dealing with. She just said it. She's been coming in for 2 years. After 2 years, maybe after 2 more years, 3 more years, she's going to understand, like, these people are not the way to go to change anything. But we shouldn't have to be going through that. We should have institutions in place with institutional memory to teach the people this is not where you go to change anything. We have our own spaces where you go.
Because you have, it's just unfortunate that we would need further conversation to take things a little further. So I apologize. There has been some initiative, but we got to get to the finish line because the situation didn't go away. It's just that I make it look good because somebody came to me and said she's faking it. I wouldn't wish this on the enemy. I guess I'm very disturbed that our current mayor is going around talking about Jersey City rent is too high.
You hear that? The mayor's going around talking about the rent in Jersey City is too high because they're running for office. He's talking about he's a progressive. This sociopath that had destroyed the whole community. He's been here for what? About 12 years now. He's been mayor in North New Jersey. About 12 years. Everything has gotten worse. I just told you when we first started, 29% of the home ownership, only 29% of the people in North own their homes. 29%. What does that mean? That means a community, a transient community, where people are just renting, they're not staying, they're not building no community, nobody's really staying here. It's all chaotic, it's all crazy, there's crime, there's no community here, there's no family. And who's responsible for that? Who's responsible? The person that came in and led the largest gentrification effort in the city's history. And she's telling you, this is someone that has worked for them. That works there. It's telling you she can't even afford to live here. She's talking about enough of the mayor going over to Jersey City talking about something. Their rent is too high over here. There's nothing of them.
These consulting firms to talk to us. Can somebody sit down and talk with me? Because who is the rent control board? Who are the individuals on this board?
Corrupt politicians. Now, this is what she was talking about. What you was talking about.
I've always been a supporter. I appreciate the brother. He does great work over here, and we align.
I saw this clown when I went over there. What was the brother's name that was killed? I think it's the Spanish brother was killed in Jersey City, General Secretary.
I can't remember his name.
Okay, Andrew, right?
Is it Drew? No, it was Drew. No, that was Drew Patterson or Jersey City?
Yeah, it was in Jersey City. His name was, I think, Drew. I mean, look. But anyway, we went over there to go try to find justice for him. So they had all these Uncle Tom organizations that was there, and they told the family that they didn't want the Black Panther Party part of the process because, like, I don't know what they told them. But the family started started cutting communication with us because they believe people like this fraud right here, this fraud politician, and the other organizations that were there, this Uncle Tom NGO organization was going to do anything for them. Yo, I don't even hear about the case no more. We don't even hear about nothing they're talking. Nobody even knows about this case no more. They just swept it under the rug because that's what they do. And now look at him. He's running for office now, co-signing Rod Baraka, and Rod Baraka over there talking. Let's play some more. Let him talk before I critique what he say.
I remember when Jersey City used to be Chill Town, JC, when it was a little bit more like Newark, but the community is different now.
When it was a little bit like Newark. It used to be Chill Town when the community was a little bit like Newark. Where's Newark, bro? You kicked everybody, every resident in Newark. They're either living on the streets or they done moved to the city. What Newark you talking about? Just right here now, just chatting. Who owns Newark? City fights back against corporate home buying spree. What has happened in other cities is happening in Newark, but in scale unmatched anywhere in the country. Eric Kiefer wrote it patch staff. Earlier this week, the Working Center on Law in Inequality and Metropolitan Equity, CLAM, in parentheses, released a report that highlighted a startling statistic. Nearly half of Newark's residential property is owned by corporations. It's the highest rate in the nation, researchers said. When was this? 2022. This was May 2022. What has happened in other cities is happening in Newark, but on a scale unmatched anywhere in the country, the report states. In 2022, they're saying nearly half. Now it's at only 29% of the people in the city own their homes. This is what the mayor has done. And then he goes out here and he makes this videos just lying. The only way for them to win is to lie to the people. But he's over there critiquing Jersey City mayor that's doing the same thing. Why? Because they're both running to be the head Uncle Tom or the head sellout in the state.
I think he agrees that we need affordable housing. He just ain't built none. We've been building affordable housing in Newark. I mean,
you hear this play out? We've been building affordable housing in Newark. You hear this play out? Straight liar. And he's supposed to be Muslim. I think that's why he got that mark on the top of his head. He's supposed to be Muslim. Yo, I don't know how, even the Muslims in the city that support him, they're all frauds. Any Muslim that support him is a fraud. Just like all Christians that support all these politicians, support Trump, they're all frauds. You're committing haram by supporting a sociopath like him that works for imperialism. Because black people like to think because they're Muslim, that means they're authentic, they're real black, that means they're closer to the culture. No, it's just a religion. It's just an Arab religion that you have taken on. And it means nothing. And especially if you support people like this, sociopaths like this, that make people homeless, that have stolen all the homes in the community to corporations, to banks. If you support people like this, you haram, bro. You're not real. You're a fake Muslim. That's what you are. You can wear your little dresses around, walk around with him, act like you're doing something, but you're a fake Muslim. You're fake. We don't go by nothing of the scripture. Because Rod Baraka is the devil. He's the devil incarnated. Because how can you stand here and lie, knowing York is going through this crisis, this in the country, and you stand there and you're lying on camera. Like, look at him. He's lying. He knows he's lying. Yo, I can't get on camera and lie like that. Character wouldn't allow it.
Always argues that Jersey City has built more housing than anybody. That's true. Jersey City has, but 90% of the rents in Jersey City are over $2,000.
And what are yours? For the second year in a row, this New Jersey City was named the worst city in the nation for renters. In a recent 2024 rental report from Forbes Advisor, Newark ranked as the worst city for renters among 95 major U.S. cities. This is the second year in a row that Newark has received the title. That's what they wrote. I don't forget to write this. NorthJersey.com. Maddie McGay. You got to know that Maddie. I mean, like you said, like people say, like, you just hate Rod Baraka. You don't like. You know what one of his supporters told me this week? One of his supporters says, since everybody in North don't like Ras Baraka, why don't we just come push him to make him governor? I don't know what kind of people these are. I don't know what they think. I don't know if bro was high when he said that to me. Even though I've been saying for years, we don't do electoral politics. But he knows what the mayor has said about me, said about my family, what he has personally done to me, gotten me arrested, has me under what is it, supervision?
Surveillance.
What surveillance? Even though they have me under surveillance, I should go support this person. He had the Black Panther Party under surveillance. We should go support him. But something is wrong with you, if you really believe that.
Well, they get somebody that sees them, that's experienced, that's qualified, that knows the issues, that doesn't back down, that is not, wishy-washy. Tuesday got one stance, on a Thursday got another stance. What you see is what you see is what you get. He's a real evil fraud. What you see is what you get. Look at him. He's a fraud. What you see is what you get. Gentrification, unemployment, letting companies hire people in the community that have no paperwork, people that are illegal. I don't like using that term, but they are illegal. They've made them illegal. They're immigrants that's fleeing oppression. I understand. But in real material sense, when you allow people like that to get jobs in those companies, they depress wages. They don't have to pay somebody that live here what they're supposed to be paying them. They'll pay somebody like $3, $4, $5. And him, the mayor of the city, is allowing that, even though it's illegal. How many of those companies has he locked away? Has he locked up? Has the police gone after? In fact, when they caught people that are working there illegally, he's doing press conferences, picking up for the businesses. And he'll come to the hood, put up cameras everywhere in our community, talking about people that selling drugs, selling weed outside, that like focus all their attention on them. Like, these are the people that you deal with. I said that's going to fix the issues at hand. And then I just remember the reason why I wanted to keep playing that video earlier about the dude, the professor from law school, because he goes on to say, even if you get rid of all these people, the systems are still in place. The system are still in place, which are going to breed the same inequality. So voting for him, voting for Fuller, voting for any other person attacking these people, that's not going to change anything. The only thing that's going to change anything in the community is us organizing together, putting our resources together to do what we need to do. We need people to work. We need secretaries. We need people to be in charge of a whole crowd of people. We got work here that needs to be done instead of wasting your energy going to go walk all the way to Trenton to ask these people to pass a bill for you when they never showed you any inkling of giving a damn about you. In this interview too, like somebody in Jersey City must have did it. They're asking him what are you going to do, whatever, and he up there lying. Corporate landlords ignore. With wages not keeping up with the cost of living and inflation, boom. So everything we talk about. With wages not keeping up with the cost of living and inflation. And for General Secretary, find out from Brother Nas, and we can keep going for a couple more minutes. Because I want to finish this today. With wages not keeping
May I be heard?
Keep going?
Yeah, Basil. This is Basil. Can you stay on the call and patience, and also the CEO stay on the call after this is over with? I have something that I just want to make clear, and I wanted to be recorded for the record. Can you do that for me, please?
I'll talk to the people. No problem. With wages not keeping up with the cost of living and inflation, by any government action, the result is inevitable. Home ownership is a mirage, and renting is financially disastrous for many. In no city is this truer than in New York, New Jersey, where only 29.6% of housing units are owner-occupied, the lowest of any city in the country. In an opinion piece written by Newark's own Mayor Roger Baraka, he laments that Newark is leading the country in the category we desperately want to avoid. Increasingly, landlords in Newark are no longer people at all, but rather faceless corporations and LLC backed by private equity firms. In 2022, Rutgers
Center on Law, Inequality, and Metropolitan Equity, CLIMB, released a bombshell report revealing seismic shift in the city's real estate ownership. So it's right there, what I've been saying the whole time, 29%. If you want to round it up to 30, carry on. But it's right there. 29.6% of housing units are owner-occupied. Oh, no. Yeah, owner-occupied. So meaning only 30% of the housing units are owned by the people. The rest of the 70% is owned by faceless people, banks, corporations that nobody knows. So he turned this into a corporate city. That's what Robert Baraka has done in his time as mayor here. But nobody can challenge him. Nobody can say anything to him. These people have guards, security, police that protect them from anybody. And once you voice your opinion, they use their platform to attack you. And if you're working in any of these government agencies, they fire you. That's what they're doing.
Families and working people, because that's who I know.
You don't know us. You're a scumbag. You go ask who people know in New York as politics. What's her name? Donna Jackson. You go talk to Donna. Ask Donna about Ross Baraka. Ask what's her name? Just like what's her name that worked with Donna? It slips me right now.
Cassandra Dock.
Cassandra. Go ask Cassandra Dock about Ross Baraka. Go ask people that have been working in the community for decades about Ross Baraka. Ross Baraka is a sociopath. He's a disgusting person. He should be ashamed of the skin that he wears. This is he is worse than a Cory Booker. See, Cory Booker didn't come talk about that black power job. His father wasn't in Mary Baraka. This element of politicians are the worst our people have ever pushed out. I want you, this will be end real quick. I want you to hear this real quick.
In the district tonight, justice for Karan Hilton Brown. 2 D.C. police officers found guilty in the death of the 20-year-old.
Hilton Brown died during a police pursuit. This is back in 2020 while he was riding a moped.
It took a jury several days to come up with a verdict. Jacqueline Matter at the federal courthouse with those details. She's standing by line right now. Jacqueline.
Yeah, Jim and G, those 2 officers are home tonight awaiting sentencing after a judge deemed that they were not a threat to the community or a flight risk. Nonetheless, this was an unprecedented verdict that took the jury 5 days to reach.
I think it's the biggest civil rights case in the United States today, because nobody has ever convicted a police officer who didn't even hit the car that caused the death. Are you surprised?
More than 2 years after 2 D.C. police officers chased Hilton Brown through the streets of D.C., Officer Terrence Sutton and Lieutenant Andrew Zabavsky have been found guilty on all charges related to his death.
I didn't think that this day would come as far as them getting charged with the crimes that they committed.
The 20-year-old father was stopped for riding a moped on the sidewalk without a helmet. The chase that followed lasted more than 3 minutes and ended when Hilton Brown rode into oncoming traffic, where he was hit by a car, suffered severe head trauma, and died days later.
So when they say the police are in the community to protect and serve, they're chasing him down to take his moped. They want to take his moped. They're going to confiscate the moped, and the only thing he has, transportation or whatever. If he's doing Uber, doing whatever, you come in and you take his moped and they probably give him a ticket. And the community is used to this kind of relationship with the police. So when they come, he's like, I'm not trying to lose my moped. So he leave. You're not supposed to chase him. He hasn't committed a felony. He hasn't committed nothing. But they chased him. They bullied him. They terrorized him. And he got killed because of the chase. So they locked him up. Once they locked him up, what happened? What happened once they locked him up? This was in 2020 this happened.
The state folks, excuse me.
So this is the mayor. She's been the mayor since 2015. You see, another black person. All this time, all this stuff is supposed to be here to benefit the people, the black people, DEI, all these agencies, diversity, inclusion, all this stuff is supposed to benefit black people. Yeah, that's the mother in the back. The mother in the back is asking her, hey, yo, did you speak to Trump and let him know this is illegal for them to pardon the officers that killed her son. That same young man you saw riding the scooter. She's been trying to speak to the mayor, to Bowser. All the time, Bowser refused to speak to her. So she showed up at the meeting, and she said, I'm going to ask you on TV, on camera, in front of everybody, and watch what they do. What you think they're going to do? Watch what they do.
It's very much like, it's basically, as I said.
See that? You see this black person in front? These are all people that work for the mayor. They work for the staff. So they're trying to shut the mother up for asking, how are these people getting released out of prison? Remember, like, the Democrats act like they're against Trump. They're against the system, that they're with the people. This is the mother of the man that was killed by the police, and they're about to release these officers. They pardoned them. Trump pardoned them. So she asked her, like, did you even have a conversation with him to let him know what he's doing is illegal? And look at her staff, and look at the other one. Look at the staff surrounding her. They're all going to swarm in with the police. You see this? See this? When the people.
Ms. Hilton, I'm happy to talk to you following this briefing.
How can you focus and speak to her? She said she's going to speak to you after this briefing. She's not going to speak to her. And even if she come over there, she's not even going to really give her ear. She's going to try to, what they call it, gaslight her. Look at the black person in the back. These are all the black people that you put in what you call it, in City Hall, that have all those jobs, those federal jobs that Trump is getting rid of, and they're all complaining about Trump. This is how it works in real life. This is how it works. I'm going to keep playing it.
Ms. Hilton, if you would step outside.
Look at them. They're about to start pushing her. Look, they're going to put their hands on them. These people are supposed to serve the people. Look at them. You see, look at the black woman back there just watching.
No.
They're all just watching.
No.
They're watching. Look at them. They're all watching. Everybody, they're moving out the way, like the police brutalize the women.
Ms. Hilton.
Look at this, bro. This is the America we live in. Anybody's talking anything about go to the government, go to these people, these black politicians. We need black politicians because that's inclusiveness. I mean, that's diversity. No. These entrepreneurs and these sellouts just get access to white supremacy, the imperialism. They're not there to serve us or to help us. And if you think I'm lying, go to every single community that they are in power. Every single community that they're in power. And I guarantee you 99.99999999999% is suffering the same conditions. Gentrification, low wages, high prices in food, everything, gas, everything high. But that's a show for today, though, man. That's a show for today. I mean, anybody got anything they want to add? Talk to me. Going once, going twice, and I really wish people would talk too. I want to have conversations with, like, I don't want to talk.
I have something to say about the everything you have talked about, especially with the regentification that's going on in our areas. Jersey City has gone through it for, I would say, maybe 40-something years ago, and I got to see it because I was one of the last when they were extending on project buildings from Montgomery all the way down to Montgomery East, which was already hitting a very historical working class neighborhood that was Italian. So apparently before Puerto Ricans came, the Italians were the last of the let's say immigration group before they outlawed immigration in 1928. So everybody else that came in either came in as illegally. Back then they had even a word for it, which was like WOP, and they I remember growing up as Puerto Ricans, we were coming in as citizens, but at the same time we were clashing a little bit with them because they were taking the jobs, or they had the jobs that it seems like they were either leaving with and going with union jobs, or they were just happy to stay with, but coming in as a migration group. even though as citizens, there seemed to have been a clash with certain other groups. Now, in Jersey City, it wasn't so much with Italians, because Italians have gone through something already through it. But it was more closer to with Irish people, Irish Americans in that town. Like in Newark, it could be with Puerto Ricans versus, let's say, Brazilian or Portuguese. But in this time, it was is when my family came in the late 50s, early 60s, and when they did, it's almost at the same time that a lot of black people coming from the South up to the towns and taking industrial jobs that a lot of white people did not want to do at the same time, or they were joining unions that protected them better from the jobs that were left, like the dye industry in Jersey City, which was mostly a lot of African Americans took, and it led to a lot of cancers later on. But that's a good case study, Jersey City, when it comes to being strategically placed between Newark and New York City, two large cities, and the trains and all that. So coming into that 1980s, regentrification was selling what used to be the coastal, where all the ships were coming in with all the what would you say, the resources from other countries to be made in the factories into products that will then be shipped into from New York to other places, or just be bought at the time. And then in the 1970s, a lot of the union jobs moved to New York, out of New York into China, first Pennsylvania, and then to eventually China, India, and whatnot. And then we got to see the Gold Coast, as they called it, the East Coast of New Jersey, and they were reselling it as something to have a visual site towards New York where you can work. And that's when the new whole, it seems to be a whole different dynamic eventually was created, where people were coming to the new jobs, whether it was in Manhattan and downtown, and then, of course, which led to the last 25 years, what we can talk about now. And this is very important for us, seeing as, am I still on, by the way? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So leading up to this point in time, I feel like the liberalism, just like in historical Europe, just like it has done in time here, where it was created, this modern form of capitalism, it's run its course, and it's been too many recessions, and within our lifetimes, too many people losing their jobs, that now we can say it's very close to what it was in the 1930s, where people were like had enough and say, hey, I'm not political. A lot of people would say that. At one time, they might have been very faithful to the parties. But here we're coming to the point, once again, just like they did in Jersey City and in Newark in the 1930s and 40s, where there was a crossroads where we made a decision whether we're going to keep this going for ourselves and push it and tip it over, or we're going to wait for the reforms to come, which after Trump might come. It might come with the next Democrat. It might come with the next whoever. It could even be a Republican, because at one time black people were very, very faithful to the Republican Party. But these two parties are very disappointed, but they do go back to the capitalist inception of the United States, which makes this a colony still for rich people around the world.
All power to the people. Nah, you're 100% correct. No, like the Democrats are just sitting back. They're like, Trump is going to do all this stuff. They're going to piss people off, and they're going to end up just voting us back in 2 years, in 4 years. That's the game that they're playing. And unless we build institutions and build places where people can go to and understand, if I go here, I'm going to get the issues that I need dealt with, they're going to go right back to them. They're going to go right back to them. All power to the people. Mutai, you want to say anything? Did you when I was sitting on the screen, did you know I was talking to you?
Peace and blessings, bro. How you?
I'm good. Could you talk to you when I hold up, when I'm pointing at the screen?
Yeah, what happened?
Hold on, I was talking to you. Because I can say, hold up. But what's going on with you?
Everything, man. I check in. I try to check in every week. You know what I mean? Make sure I stay in tune with you guys. I appreciate everything you guys are doing in the community and spreading the message. All power to the people. You know me. That's it.
I'll ask you a question. You participated in the electoral process, and the last time you ran for school board, and like the reason why I said I would all entertain those spaces because it's all corrupt and it's all lies, they're all fraud. The game is basically rigged. They done rigged the table already. I saw a video that you put out at the school board forum. Are they still playing the same game with setting the deck?
Well, so you know the material condition of the electoral system. So I'm not going to sit here and try to rub any sugar on what the process is. What they're doing is they stop believing in the people who stop believing in them. So we the people, we have stopped believing in them at a 90-something% rate. So over 90% of black men don't vote. Right? So now, when I ask the question, who is insane? Is it that 1 to 10%, or is it that 90%? I'm more subject to think that 1 to 10% is crazy. Right? Now, knowing that, so I got to put that out there first because I don't want to get ripped on here, right? So, knowing that, right? I know the city of Newark. Newark is different. Newark is about 60 to 70% gentrified already. So it is not the same Newark, New Jersey that we grew up in. So the fight begins to shift over at this point. Right now, the fight is, how am I going to sustain? How are we going to sustain for those who remain? So it's an extreme bottom class now in Newark. We got it's no hiding it. It's no saying, oh, some people are, because even the people that are working, they're not doing well, right? Because they got to pay these high rent. We already know we don't own nothing.
Yeah.
So me at this point, wherever the resources are, I want to be in the room, and I'm gonna lead that like that.
All power to the people. All power to the people. I didn't know you, my boy. There's nothing here that's a secret. And I told my man here, I told him, that's my man. I told him I don't do the electoral politics shit. But whatever you need outside of that, you already know, bro. I got you. We out here. Now, man, because even the courage that it takes for you to stand up against those people, now, man, that speaks volumes about who you are. Now, man, so salute, my guy. Now, man, if you need anything, you already know, man.